Yes, I'm back. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Time for another Unleashed Live. And I'll definitely go in here to see who we got on deck already, who the early birds are. I know I got a late start getting this video prepared, or this live stream prepared anyway, today. I don't know. I don't even have a good excuse. Maybe it's a hadron collider accelerator thing that's speeding up time, and I thought I was just chilling looking on my phone. Next thing I know, it was almost 5. I'm like, man, I got to make a thumbnail, I got to prep this show. But for those of you that are here every Wednesday, you knew to be here, so thank you. Looks like we got Dotson 200SX was the first guy on deck. Hey peeps, what's happening, Dotson? Got Dale Groot. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Yes, it's hump day, right? That's always good. Almost through that week. Almost just at the hump. John Evans, ready, willing, and able. He's ready and willing and able to get unleashed. Yeah, I mean, these situations, we have to have a champagne.
Let's have us a champagne jam. Yeah, I got my beer goggles on now.
Got his beer goggles on now.
Hey, bud. Let's party.
You got to party a little bit. Even the animals out in the wild party. They eat those fermented berries and stuff and get drunk and roll around. It's just nature. Skylar B, what's happening, buddy? Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And our pal Stoney Jackson. The Northeast gets some heat. They call it extreme. When I lived in Florida, it was just Wednesday. Let's go. Yeah, Marsha B, her place is hot as shit. I know she was just telling me about the reason her air conditioning isn't working or something. I had to get the show going, though. I couldn't finish seeing what she was talking about, but she did send me like a thermometer in her house. It was like 93 or something. I mean, that's pretty rough. I think where you die is around like 108. How do I know that? I was reading today that in Arizona, where they have these weird prisons, not that some of these criminals don't deserve such places, but there's a lot of people that probably didn't do anything that really bad that are stuck in some of these Arizona private prisons, I'm sure. And one of them had some kind of cage or something outside, and they put like a female prostitute out there, and she ended up dying from heat exhaustion, which is insane. I mean, that's a crime too, where it's like, really, you're gonna put somebody in prison for prostitution? I don't think that's I don't agree with that necessarily, and certainly not in those conditions, but kind of like shows you the cutoff of where you're probably not going to survive past such temperature. But I would consider 92 in your house to be freaking unbearable. I've pushed those limits at my last apartment that I had for like 16 years. That place did not have air conditioning. Whenever you live within a couple miles of the beach, at least in Southern California, they don't really give you that. You'd have to ask for air conditioning customized. Once you're about 10 miles in or so, then it starts to come with the homes and apartments and such. But when you're on the coast, they're like, no, we don't even have air conditioners here. You just open the window. You're close to the beach air and so forth. And that's mostly true. Though I would say like September, October, I have to have like one of those plug-in Walmart fans or whatever. I have to have that like blowing on me, because as soon as it's that still kind of heat, no breeze, I can't do it. I can't sleep. I start sweating and tossing and turning. So I feel for you guys. I guess that's why I try to sympathize with you through my recollections. I mean, as of now, I am right on the beach, and I feel bad. Like, she's showing me 92 degrees and it's like 62 degrees here. It's a little cloudy and overcast on the beach, and the sun peaks out about the end of the day. Woo. Let me get back to these people here. We got Tim Lloyd, a friend to the Unleashed channel. Time to hang out. Smoke if you got it. Yeah, I was just going to try to sneak a toke in before Susan got back, and I was running out of time for the show. I couldn't risk it. I had to run in here. I didn't realize how unprepared I was. You know, you got to set up the lights and the green screen. You know, this isn't really what the room looks like that I'm in right now. In fact, you know, I was laying in bed this morning. When I woke up, I looked around and I was like, man, somebody's got to help me to organize this room. It's just so horrible. I'm a hoarder. I realize that I've accepted that I'm a hoarder. I mean, for those that don't have the background, I rent a room here at this 2-bedroom beach place, and everything I own is in here. And it's like, there's no question that I'm in the entertainment business, because you look around and just see guitars and amps and like now costumes and stuff. I mean, right when I thought I had a handle on the equipment situation, and I'm talking like guitar cases, there's no like displaying your guitars on the wall scenario here. This is like you're at the ocean and this salt air destroys everything. So like I quickly realized that I had to case up every guitar I have. So once you start having all those hard cases, I mean, the only benefit is you can start stacking them in corners or on top of each other. And that's kind of what it is. Once there's like, 20, 30 guitars around, you know, it's just, what do you do with them all? I have stacks of amps in here, and geez, I don't even take those really unless I'm playing locally, which I should mention that the project band that you guys have seen some videos of me playing with them, and I did some solos on their record and got to play on a couple songs like Death of Me, which was super well received. And we are playing in Costa Mesa on the, God, is it I want to say the 29th. I hope this is nope, that's last year's calendar. It's the last Friday, I think, of the month of July. And they also have a new video premiering this Friday. So I'll be sharing that on my social media. And if you guys could share it too, that'd be great. But yeah, so if you're in the Southern California area, we're going to be playing the Tiki bar, which is cool. That one's not too far from me. The video that's coming out was shot when we played the Lemon Fest in Upland, which is pretty cool. It's where they shut down the Upland downtown, like when you're in the real downtown area of the city where it says Upland, you know, above the street. I like those kind of gigs. They're fun. And I got to meet the mayor of Upland that day. That was kind of cool. He's also into real estate. I asked him for a card, and my thinking was, hey, you know, if I ever get arrested in Upland or whatever, maybe I could drop his name or something, and he could like make a phone call, and maybe they could smooth out the situation perhaps. And he had 2 cards. The Pump 5 singer Steve was also asking him for a card. I don't even know why we were asking him for that. We're just like, oh, you're the mayor. And he did give Steve like a mayor card or something, but then maybe he thought that I was more famous and that I would want to buy a house. The card he gave me was a realtor card. So he was also a real estate agent. And I kind of laughed at that because I could barely afford to rent a room, let alone, you know, purchase a home here in Southern California. They're millions of dollars. But this has been, you know, a rad experience living at the beach for these last years. I think I'm going on the end of my 3rd year living here, but I've known Susan for like 5 of these years. And before this, I was 16 years in the same butthole apartment. It was a terrible place, but it was a place I called home. My thinking at the time, I was there for 16 years. And when I first moved in, I was looking for the cheapest place that I could find that was within 5 miles of the beach. And I came across these Canyon Creek apartments in Oceanside. And at the time I moved in, I think the rent was only like $700. And this place was a butthole. It had nothing in it, like no fridge. It had no sliding door. If you had a downstairs unit, it at least had a little backyard. But I preferred to be upstairs at the time when I was younger anyway. I just felt safer upstairs for some reason. Although that sucked for like bringing my equipment and amps up. I would kill myself dragging my equipment up after local shows. But I drove past this old place that I lived at the other day because I still have to pick up my prescriptions down from that area. And when I passed it, I was like, man, I would never want to go back there. Like, it just looks terrible. Like, coming up El Camino Real, looking at it, it's just a bunch of power lines. Like, I probably have cancer right now and don't even realize it, or will, just from 16 years of living. It's crazy. It's just all power lines and phone lines and whatever it is around there, and just cables and stuff. I lived in a couple different units at that place. I had lived there even decades before, and I remember living closer to one of those things, and you could hear it at night. I mean, that's not meant to be a long-term spot, but being a musician, I just dug in there. I was able to. There was times I barely was able to pay that $700, to be honest, but I was, for the most part, able to hang on to that place, and it was mine. I didn't have to answer to roommates. All my experiences with roommates leading up into that all ended badly, all of them. And usually it's because they're the ones on the lease, or it's their place, you're renting a room, and they just can't help but being a micromanaging dick, or always take issue with your lifestyle or something like that, and you're living under their rules. And here it's pretty similar, you know what I mean? It's like, this was Susan's on the lease here, and she has the master bedroom, which looks right at the ocean. It's bigger than the one I'm in. It's pretty dope. And then we have a common living room area and a kitchen, but it's like all her furniture and stuff. Like, she pushed me to move in here, if you can believe that. It wasn't so hard, moving to the beach, but I was hesitant, you know what I mean? Just as a bachelor, as a king of my kingdom, right? I just was like, oh man, when I move, I knew there'd be a trade-off, of being able to just live my way and not answer to anybody, versus, but I also felt like it was time to step up, like class-wise, like to just start living a little higher lifestyle and comfort level. Like, it was just time to kind of earn a little more maybe and step it up. So I took the challenge of her saying, hey, you need to step up in this relationship, Melvin. And I was like, I'm going to leave this place. I was scared to leave my place of 16 years to do this. But being that it was literally directly on the strand of the beach, I'm like, man, how many opportunities am I ever going to get like this? So I said, okay. I ended up having to get rid of everything I owned, pretty much. I mean, the only thing I was able to take here was obviously my guitars, my amps. It was just music stuff. Like, literally had to get rid of my bed even. She had a bed that she wanted to keep in here. And I was like, God damn it. Okay. So it's pretty much just been me with everything I own in this room. And that's what makes it difficult to not have piles of shit. And then once I decided to go nuts and become like a movie producer and start directing cheesy horror movies here at the place, man, that's become even harder. A lot of you guys were at the Fright Bite last night, and I thank you. I thank you so much. We did it was Operation, let me find the oh, I hope I didn't get rid of the image already. I had it on my desktop. I think this is it right here. This was last night's Fright Bite, and as I said, a lot of you were there. Thank you. We introduced a couple new characters tonight. This skunky looking wolf guy on the right was Agent Skunk, which was a asset from Dr. Von Brainscan's laboratory. It was like a team member that they created somehow. And, the team being Dahlia Dark and myself, who I played Count Cracula. But they have these experimentations going on with the lab that turned me into a werewolf. At one point, Dahlia also joined in for a few missions and was willing to do the wolf. She no longer is willing to take the serum to do the wolf. So any future missions that she is on, It's going to be laser eyes. But Count Cracula is probably still going to have to be the wolf from time to time, because that's the only way he seems to be able to turn off one of the side effects, which is every time the moon's about to be full, his hand starts to turn into a werewolf hand. And the only thing that kind of stops it is when he takes the serum on a full moon for an hour and goes and completes a mission and comes back. Then he seems to get his vampire hands back. And so that's the only reason why he's still willing to do it. Plus, when he's the wolf, it's easier for him to smell the perpetrator's pee-pee droplets and stuff. He just has an increased sense of smell. And lo and behold, Agent Skunk also has that ability, obviously being a werewolf. So they were able to track down Dr. Theodore Lobo, who subsequently was let go by myself and Dahlia on the last mission, because we were thinking with our wallets, we're like, hey, if we totally shut down these guys' experimentations and laboratories and bust them, then we're not going to have any more work, and that's like a lot, as I mentioned before, how law enforcement seems to work in our country. You know what I mean? We let these people, these criminals, back out on the street to commit more crimes. And we do it because these guys wouldn't have jobs if we didn't do that. We would eventually have arrested every criminal, and it would just be good people left. And then we wouldn't need cops anymore. And that's not going to work. These people need jobs. And so they just go, hey, look, it's your lucky day. We're going to let you back out to commit some crimes and see if you can get better at it. We'll improve our skills too. And it becomes like a whole cat and mouse training thing. But in our case, we just thought, hey, why don't we let these guys go? And then the Count could get paid more vampire dollars to go back after him in the future. They had a werewolf accelerator machine that needed to be stopped. I keep talking about it. I should just show some of this mission, see what you guys do, a little watch along from last night if you missed it. Dahlia, Agent Skunk should be here. Well, hello. I'm Skunk. Agent James Skunk. At your service. It should be noted that yesterday I had no idea what this little mini movie was going to be. I had somehow procrastinated so much that it was actually yesterday morning before I even started to come up with doing a script and acting out the characters. I had to do 5 characters for this thing. And as I was saying, I started the topic off with my messy room. I have werewolf costumes and monsters and stuff. So there's a freaking mannequin here, a female mannequin that looks kind of nuts. I actually put clothes on her because it makes me look like too big of a weirdo when it's dressed like in Dahlia's pinup girl outfit or whatever. It looks like I'm a total perv. So I actually put clothes on it so it looks a little less crazy. But that mannequin actually came in handy because a lot of the fight scenes, I'll dress up the other werewolves with that mannequin and then do the fight scenes like that. It's actually super, I wouldn't say super difficult. Like once I get a method down for doing it, I'm doing all this by myself. Okay. That's what makes it more unique. Or I'm sure there's other people that are forced to do it this way too, but literally coming up with the entire thing, having to dress everybody, be the characters, do all the moves, film it, edit it, do the voiceovers, which that's a whole nother thing. I kind of knew that the idea, how this basic idea would go. Like at the last minute, I just came up with the thing that the idea that Starlink, Elon Musk's company, that these terrorists were trying to tap into Starlink and use their werewolf accelerator to turn people into werewolves, Americans into werewolves, and get like a werewolf army. This is Crozar was paying for this. Crozar's the head terrorist drug dealer guy, and Dr. Lobo was hired to create this werewolf accelerator. So I'm coming up with this like script yesterday morning. Of course, I smoked some weed before I came up with this. You have to. How are you going to come up with this stuff otherwise? But I had a loose idea how I was going to go. I think the first thing I did was I started getting some backgrounds together, like for the laboratory, like the different switches and colored buttons. I've kind of found how I can. That's one thing I have used AI for, where I could quickly come up with something like that and then use some filters to bring it to life color wise. And once I have those, because remember, there's like basically going to be pretty much at least 3 walls that you're filming. The fourth wall, which you'll hear in movies, you never see because that's where the camera is, right? That's the fourth wall. But yeah, so I need at least like 3 different backgrounds if I'm shooting a scene and there's different characters. And I guess I kind of learned this just like you guys, just from a lifetime of watching movies and stuff, and you kind of recognize how they angle the cameras and how when the actors are speaking, it's kind of goes to flashes between each actor, right? So you kind of know that much. I'm an amateur at doing this, but I'm getting a little better at it. And so when you're acting though with these costumes on, it's more of a physical thing. I mean, without it, you're just standing there with a mask on. It's kind of dumb. I mean, to sell it, you have to actually animate yourself. And so I really didn't know what the dialogue would be, but I knew the attitude that these characters would be displaying. And I knew like Crozar would be like the old cartoon villains and stuff, you know, mad with his fist and clenching and, you know, so I do moves like that. And if I have a couple minutes of me doing that, I can cut from it and then overdub some dialogue and stuff over it. So let's get back to this. Good to meet you, Skunko. I hope you're ready to dance if things get hairy out there. The other thing is these masks, like it's tricky to get the mouth to move on it. Like I finally realized I had to have it in my head in there a certain way and kind of use my lip to like move the little jaw piece and not hold my head up too high, or it would like you would see my face like under it. So it was a little tricky, I suppose. Alls I know, if I get any werewolf bites, it's gonna cost Dr. Von Brainscan a lot more vampire dollars. Oh, yes, and some werewolf dollars while he's at it.
Hello, Agent Skunk. I'm glad you're here to back us up.
My pleasure, darling. Shall we go now? For sure, Agent Skunk. Let's make like a baby and head out.
It might get a little hairy if Dr. Lobo has any fanged friends in his wolf pack.
Agent Skunk, do you smell that? Werewolf pee droplets.
Lobo, this new location is costing me a lot of capital.
That's I believe that's a Star Wars background. That's not AI. I think that's actually from a Star Wars movie. I mean, how recognizable are those panels? One interesting thing, if you want, not that he doesn't even sell these commercially, but Pete Evick, right, from Bret Michaels band, Pete's son like made Pete some of those panels for his office that looks so dope. I was like, he should do that for a living. I mean, there's probably have to pay Lucasfilms. They probably have some kind of patent on that, but it's so distinct, right?
How's it going over there? How's it going? I've been working my ass off down here. How is the new laboratory coming along? My werewolf accelerator is finally operational. Excellent. Unfortunately, the only test subject I could find was a homeless meth head.
I guess that's funny to me because of where I live. We have like homeless meth heads all over the place here. So that's probably how that came to me. But it was funny that I had to like find a picture of a real methed out person. It's probably better I didn't use their face or whatever. This person, if they're even real anyway, the photo that I got, but it was funny. I like made them all crunched up and stuck them in this machine.
We don't have much time. He'll have to do. Well, what are you waiting for? Crank it up.
So you gotta get all physical with it. That was like some Steve Martin moves there.
What is this place? Who are you? I feel fantastic.
I'm trying to come up with a name for this guy. If you guys have names you want to throw out for this character, I didn't have time to come up with one, and so he's just referred to as a meth head throughout the whole episode. But if you have some kind of clever, cool name for this bad guy, throw it in the chat, and I'll see if I like it. Maybe that'll become the name.
The werewolf accelerator was a success. Now we can use Starlink to create a Wi-Fi werewolf army. Hey guys, I'm a little uncomfortable. Do you happen to have any meth? Meth? Really? We'll get you your meth as soon as we get this werewolf Wi-Fi thing going. I used to work at SpaceX before I developed this meth habit. Maybe I can help. Lobo, you left the security door unlocked again.
Pardon us, Dr. Lobo, but would you mind handing over that werewolf accelerator and joining us back at the lab?
The werewolf accelerator? Really? I literally just got this laboratory going again after you fucked it up.
Dr. Lobo, I'm afraid you're gonna have to come with us.
No.
Enough playing around. Let's beat this meth head's ass. All right then.
Oh, you rotten son of a bitch! Just make it easy on yourself, you meth head, and come with us back to the lab.
Oh, allow me to get in on this action, old chap.
Come here.
Getting violent, right? Okay, that's enough, old boy.
You're ruining everything!
Just let me turn off this werewolf accelerator here. There we go.
What happened?
Well, old chap, consider this case closed. The werewolf accelerator is going to where it belongs. Dr. Von Brainscan's secret underground laboratory. I saw on Canva, apparently you could do some kind of AI voiceover, and you could take your video and, like, I guess put it into there, and if you type in the prompt for the script, it'll do a perfect British accent. I mean, I might do that. I ended up, like, I didn't have time to the learning curve involved for me trying to do that yesterday with all this on my plate was too much, and I go, it would be faster if I just do it myself. I can't really do a good British accent, but I was like, he's an agent. I just figured, it would be ironic if he wasn't a stinky guy. Originally, I was like, I'll call him Skunk, and he could have a power to stink up the room. And I go, well, what if it would be more ironic if he just, actually was really refined, but they called him Skunk, and so I went with that. And as for you, Methathan, you're coming back to the lab with us.
Now you've really angered me, Crocula. I'll be back for you.
Crozar, you'll never scare us away from getting to count his vampire dollars.
Any werewolf bites, it's so Dahlia she was so over the werewolf thing. She's like, you're just gonna have to use stock footage for that, and I'll give you a voiceover. So anyways, I get it though. Like, for some people, the feel of something like that on your head can be too much. I'll give you an example. Like, when I was young, probably 12 or so, 12 or 13, I played Pop Warner football. I did not last very long doing this. I lasted through the Hell Week. They have some kind of Hell Week thing. I made it to the end of the Hell Week, and then I quit. And there was a couple of reasons for this. The main one was my mom she could never get me anywhere on time, ever. And because she'd always drop me off late for practice, they would make me run a couple of miles more than everyone else. And this happened like every day. They were just running me ragged, and it wasn't my fault. So I was just getting angry about it. And one of the things I think it was the second to last day, they were finally passing out the helmets so that they could get to the hitting part or whatever. We had done the physical get you in shape up until then, and now it was going to be the more fun part according to them. But anyways, because I got there late, I got like the last pick of the helmet, and I remember it was like this big ass helmet that would like flop down and I couldn't see. It was ridiculous. It was like a comedy movie, and I remember trying to run with this thing, and that I am not a Jocko guy, you know what I mean? I just, even at that age, I'm like, F this, man. This is so lame. I'm like, I really am not enjoying this at all. So why am I here? And I just ended up like taking the helmet, just throwing it off. I was like, I quit. And I remember my mom made me call the coach and at least formally, tell him that I quit over it. He thought I was calling to ask if I could come back. I'm like, fuck no, I ain't coming back. I don't give a shit, Unfortunately for me, the whole football team kind of bullied me for a good amount of time. Like after that, after a while, they let me go because I was kind of funny and whatever. I wasn't really a threat to anybody. And so there was only like maybe one or two guys that still bugged me about it through junior high school. Or what have you. But it just reminded me of that, like I'm going to cut Dahlia some slack because it reminds me of the Pop Warner football helmet. She probably put on this mask and was like, I do not like this. And like the work involved to make the mouth move and everything. Like she's like, no more. I just went crazy with this whole werewolf thing. But as soon as I saw the ratings got a little better, I'm like, it's going to be a legion of werewolves.
Dr. Von Brain scanned a lot more vampire dollars.
Oh, yes, and some werewolf dollars while he's at it.
Hello, Agent Skunk. I'm glad you're here to back us up.
My pleasure, darling. Shall we go now?
For sure, Agent Skunk. Let's make like a baby and head out.
You might get a little hairy.
Didn't we watch more of this?
Or our werewolf dollars. Enough playing around. Let's beat this redhead's ass.
Happen to have any meth?
That's right.
Meth? Really? We'll get you your meth as soon as we get this werewolf Wi-Fi.
Oh, anyway, I'm not going to bore you guys. You can watch the episode. Most of you guys saw this last night. But I'm getting closer to achieving my dream, which is to make a crappy horror movie, but good enough that it could be on Tubi. Like, that's my dream. I think that I can achieve this dream by the beginning of 2027 as far as taking on a legit production of filming a full-length movie that's under the Fright Bite umbrella that would, of course, star myself and Dahlia Dark. And I don't know if it would include any other actors or people from the public or not, perhaps. But I would have to have like got everything together by then as far as how to perfect lighting and editing and all that. So it is great practice to do these bits every month, but it is a big undertaking, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Just it definitely something you probably want to take more than a day to do, but I do seem to work good under pressure. I'm the same way in the studio too. They're like, if you put me in a studio, I'll definitely hit some wrong notes while we're in there, but I'll eventually like come up with something pretty dope in that short amount of time that we have to do something. And that's one of my superpowers or whatever. And I'm kind of that way too, I guess, with this, just if I'm funny or die back against the wall, I have to come up with something here and have just a few hours to do it. I can do it. And probably will get more done in that day than I would if you gave me a month and I just procrastinated with ideas and going 100 different ways with it. There wasn't really time for that. I had a basic idea. It just had to shoot, all that work. And you edit it down to like a 4-minute bit that probably could have been a 2-minute bit, honestly. By today's like editing standards and like psychology and things that I guess YouTubers have really perfected, right, with their shorts and different creator content that they've put out. Like how much effort goes into, you have to change the shot every couple of seconds, and you'd have to like, I saw somebody once say that you have to like edit it down to a painful amount. Like you think it's good and should go on, but you have to like actually cut even more back than what you think is you want to leave. You got to go even further if you want to successfully hold people's attention. Not that all you guys are that way. Obviously, you sit here and listen to me flap for the whole time that I'm here, and I don't really have much effects to work with and whatever. But Jay Krager, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? I'm just doing good. Just enjoying this San Diego day. I got my beach attire on, my palm trees. I did a let me pull up the photo for that, actually, for tonight, because that is something that I do sometimes. Yeah, see, I took the photo a little while ago, but on my socials, Instagram and Facebook, I used the Metallica song, "The Thing That Should Not Be," which was, I loved that song when I was like 13 or something. I thought that song, or I was probably 15 maybe when I heard that, when that came out. But I thought it was so ominous, that song, and it had that just super heavy like thrash music was so new and cool back then in the late 80s. And anyways, I was like, thinking about the tropical paradise that I live in, but at times it's kind of like I'm living with a monster, a sea monster of sorts. But yeah, so tonight I kind of, in the background, had a crazy sea monster coming up, looming in the background, that you might have noticed. And so I'm doing okay in paradise, but I don't keep my back turned for long, sir. We got RDT. Hello, let's go, RDT. She was here last night. Yeah, John Evans is like, true that, at THC. Logan Steckler, Stoliker in the house today. I don't know why I want to say Steckler sometimes, but it's Stoliker. Yeah, he checked in with me today. Just wanted to see how the gigs were going. Did you guys watch the latest Road video? Had some audio issues with it. I want to look for that file too while I'm at it here. Yeah, I think, was this it? Let me see. Yeah. Okay, good. Got it on the first try. I grabbed just a picture from this performance, but not really a lot of great video out there to begin with. I think when people film from like the very close front of the stage, it never really sounds great. It's like, because you're getting amps that are two directional. Like if you're standing in front of one of the guy's amps, your microphone tends to pick up just that amp. So if you won't hear like the other stuff, can be an issue with that. It's kind of generally if they're a little further back, the audio tends to be better from about the halfway point back, or certainly where the sound guy is probably where the best of the sound is that you're going to get of everything. But this was a tough show for us. I first put out the Gary, Indiana road vlog, which was well received. That was one we barely made it to, where all our flights were canceled in Chicago, and our tour manager David had to get with like multiple travel agents to get us rebooked to get to Gary. And it was like, by the time we got everybody and the luggage and all that stuff, I mean, no one slept. David tore his knee up. I still don't know exactly what injury he sustained, but he couldn't walk on that leg really by the end of this thing. But anyways, after all that, we had to drive to Wisconsin to this festival that was Sebastian Bach. It was supposed to be, Vince Neil. I don't know what happened to Vince Neil. I don't know why Vince Neil canceled his appearance at this show in Wisconsin. It was an outdoor 80s fest. I feel like I've done a couple of these in different states where they just call it 80s fest, and they hire a couple of the hair bands from back in the day, usually from Sullivan's roster. And I think some of these shows have been on the books for a while. But anyways, Vince pulled out. They put Slaughter into the lineup. So this also had Quiet Riot on the bill. Now, because we all got no sleep and had all come in so late and everything, we didn't get to add anyone onto the van to drive it for insurance purposes. So we had to let David get some sleep. And what we arranged is like that we would swap our sound check times with these bands. So typically the headliner, which was us, would get there very early, right, in the morning for this event, and we would be the first band to go. And no matter how long it took, it would be right before we left our sound check. Well, we like swapped it, so we were going to be the last band to sound check, and that was a little sketchy because that pushes it to you're going to be the last thing to check before the doors. They open up doors and everything. So by the time we got down there for sound check, Quiet Riot was sound checking, and they got their full sound check. It appeared anyway. Like we didn't tell them to stop sound checking, so we could kind of waited till they were finally done. And then Matt, thank God, like handles the in-ear monitor BS. Like most of you guys won't know what I'm talking about, and I don't even really know what this stuff is either. But there's a splitter that Matt actually physically takes to these gigs in a suitcase, which is a big plug-in thing or something, and then he plugs that into the board. That way we can have our mix, okay, and we run it off our iPads, and every individual band member has their own iPad and could like dial in the levels of the drums, the bass, the vocals, everybody's background vocals. And once you have it like ballparked, when you go show to show, you don't really change too much on there. It's pretty much stays the same. And I really love that. Like as far as getting the monitor part of everything together, it's actually faster. The only thing that can mess it up is the guys plugging the cables in. And what I mean by that is when you see a concert on the stage, all the instruments, all the amps you see have a microphone that gets placed in front of that amp and a microphone cable that goes to the front of house, and it gets plugged into a box, and then it also gets plugged into the monitors. And the drums have a bunch of microphones. They have one on the kick drum, one on the snare, they have ones on each of the tom drums. I mean, the drums take up probably, I don't freaking know, like probably 12 or 20, I don't know, microphones. It depends if you're Rush or you're like Nirvana, you know what I mean, as far as how many drums you have up there. But a typical rock setup's probably, 15 or 20 mics they got, and the overheads and all that. Well, anyways, when it came to our in-ears, the sound company told us that they were out of cables. They're like, we don't have enough cables for you to like do a sound check. Like we're just out of cables. We're sorry. And it was like, well, then take some cables from one of the other bands and then do our sound check and then put it back. And that was just too technical for them. And just even leading up to getting to the point of getting the in-ear monitors together, just miking the basic stuff, they had run out of even seemingly cables for that. So we never really did a check. And as we were trying to work this out, our guy David, he had the busted leg and no sleep. He was in the van where he would have probably normally held back the show for us or something, like let him be the bad guy, right? As far as like, no one's doing anything till the headliner is straight, right? But next I know, Quiet Riot, they're like, we're on at 4:30 and it's 4:30. Get the fuck out of our way. And they just like went out to play. And it was like, oh, okay. No, we're all friends. Okay. All these bands that we play together all the time. So I'm not, this isn't anything bad. I'm just kind of telling you how it went. And you know what? Honestly, I mean, in their boat, we probably would have maybe done the same thing. I don't know. But what ended up happening was when Quiet Riot took the stage, Alex's amp wasn't mic'd up through the PA. So I think they might have heard it on stage perhaps, but it definitely wasn't out in the PA. So it just was like, luckily Rudy Sarzo is like a great bassist, and their drummer is killer too. It has a great sounding snare drum and all that. I don't know if he brings his own snare or if that was house, but anyways, I digress. But maybe if they had let us finished sound check, that wouldn't happen to them. You know what I mean? But anyways, they had these same, I guess all the bands were having pretty much issues throughout the day. But we were just kind of hoping for the best. We thought that when we came back to play our show, that by then they would have had enough cables left from all the bands that they struck their stuff, and that they would have figured out their issues and that. But I think the sound company was just honestly just in over their head. Like specifically maybe the monitor side of it was more amateur, and like the front of house guy was a situation where he was having to come up on stage to make sense of the madness that was going on with where the cables were plugged in. I don't really get it. You know what I mean? I just don't understand why cables aren't like numbered and you just and do it, you know. But this was the worst case of that that I've ever seen. I mean, honestly, it took 40 minutes. We were supposed to be on at whatever 9 o'clock or something. We didn't take the stage till like 9:40, and even then, when we did take the stage, I heard guitar in my in-ears, and I for a minute there, but there was none of my guitar in the PA. It was like the same thing as Quiet Riot, but reversed. It's like they took the bad cable from Alex earlier and then used it to plug my shit in later. It just blows my mind. I'm sure like the next day they went and bought like a shit ton of new cables, the sound company or whatever. But I mean, luckily the audience was awesome. Like the crowd that showed up were very patient and cool, because it could have gone the other way. You know what I mean? Maybe it's because the crowd's older that they were like more chill about it. But I remember people tearing places down if it was taking too long, you know, back in the late 80s and 90s and stuff. Like young people and like heavy metal music and stuff, they would start really getting rowdy if you didn't like get out there. They were patient, and even with my guitar not coming on for like 4 or 5 songs, they were still cool about it. But it was tough to get some good footage for this. And then to make it worse, like when I uploaded the video, I guess a few copyright things came up from YouTube. Now, I've before done the procedure of going, okay, forget it, and I delete the video before it's been, you know, put up publicly. I'll delete it, re-edit it down, then put it back, upload it back up, and see if it works. But I've done that process and had it like 2 or 3 times tell me that it's picked up a copyright thing. So I finally, it's not that I'm being lazy, but I've decided I let YouTube decide what they're going to do. I've let them chop it themselves. That takes longer. When you let YouTube chop out the segment altogether, it seems to take twice as long as if you just tell them that you're okay with them muting it for that portion. And the muting gets done a little faster and you can get it uploaded. And so I rolled the dice, and surprisingly it left most of things, but there was a couple things that muted it, went on forever. I was like, so I do apologize for that. Maybe I won't trust YouTube for that editing in the future. But I left the footage up. I thought it would be better to like at least have the footage to look at. Maybe not. But thank you if you actually clicked past and got to where the audio kicked back in. Normally I have better audio going on my videos, but I still provided some backstage stuff that you wouldn't normally get. You know what I mean? I like to show the band when we're like dressed up, like before we go on stage, like what it's like to be with us right before we're going to go play for a bunch of people. And it's usually kind of the same deal. We're just standing around. Stevens, likes to joke and talk about stuff. Usually most drummers, I know Jimmy DeAnda's this way and Bloss is this way. They'll just be like warming up on a chair or a couch or whatever. They're just like, in the background. And, you're listening. In our situation at this last show, we were watching Sebastian Bach do his performance. And, I got to say, like, okay, we all know Sebastian Bach, he takes a ton of flack, right? Especially in the last couple of years, I would say mostly due to politics, right? Which before COVID, politics didn't come up as much and nobody really got that heated about it. But it seems like after after COVID and those elections and everything. Just everybody lost their minds, and he was one of them, I think. And then everything with Skid Row and just the drama of him coming back or not coming back. Just things in the press that came out, statements he's made, and these kind of things that were maybe misconstrued, or he just maybe shouldn't have been on near the internet at that particular time. And I think a lot of us, any of us that have ever drank alcohol and had internet access, probably at some point in our life have posted something. But for most normies, they don't have a ton of people on their Facebook. Like when you have, probably, I don't know how many followers Sebastian has, probably a few 100,000, I would imagine. At that point, it can really get blown out of proportion. But getting back to him as just a performer and a talent, I was 18 when 18 in Live video came out. They used some footage from the San Diego Sports Arena show that I was at, where they were opening for Bon Jovi. They were one of the last like cool rock bands to come out of the 80s, in my opinion. They were pretty much one of the last ones. And he was super young at the time, and he's not really all that old now. I mean, he's probably 10 years older than me. And he still is entertaining, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Watching the show, he commands your attention. He still has that crazy good voice. He's got a very distinct vibrato, Sebastian does, and it's still there. You know what I mean? There's some like studio songs, like one of the ones that got muted, actually, Monkey Business, where he was really like, you start having to try to sing that stuff at 60 something years old. It gets a little much, right? But on the regular singy stuff, he's actually still got that sustain and control over that vibrato. It's impressive, and he's funny. You can see, as we're backstage at this show, we're watching his band perform, and this place, I guess, is a big like frisbee golf course or something in Wisconsin, and he was aware of that, so he was like joking with the crowd, and he had a frisbee, and he was like, he started the song and threw the frisbee and wasn't happy with how the crowd grabbed it or caught it, so he stopped the song, started over, threw the frisbee, offered to sign it, all this stuff. I mean, it was kind of a crazy, nutty performance, but it made you smile, you know what I mean? And it was fun. Like watching it was fun. He has a great band. His guitarist, Bruiser Brody. I'm friends with him now online, but that kid's great. Les Paul rock player. He's doing like both guitar parts up there. They're just pretty much a 3-piece band, you know what I mean, with Sebastian being the fourth guy in the band, and they pull it off. The music sounds like Skid Row, and it's just cool. I mean, he is a big character and a persona. He's always, I mean, the whole time that I've played for Steven, the whole 25 years, that whole time Sebastian's been out, as far as I remember, doing a solo career. Like him and Steven definitely got to that point as frontmen that they could go out just as themselves and go play their hits and still do solo records, where the other band members typically can't do that. I mean, maybe even if they do, no one's going to really buy it, right? From there, I mean, the same goes for Rat. None of those guys went and put out really a record. I mean, I think Warren put out something in maybe the late 90s, Crazy Enough to Sing for You, which I still have never heard. I might be on YouTube now, but that was just kind of like a independent little indie, release. And for these other bands, I don't recall any of them solo wise going out and doing that. The first time I ever saw a band actually like seriously have each guy go out and do solo records was Kiss, if you recall. And I remember I in Woolworths or whatever defunct store back in the late 70s, I remember seeing the display with all the Kiss albums, and I wanted the guy that scared me the least out of the Kiss guys back then, because I was only like probably 8 or 9, was Peter Criss, because I love cats, as you guys know, and he was the cat man, and he was the guy that just didn't scare me like the other dudes did. Ace was pretty cool too. Like Ace didn't really scare me. Ace and Peter were probably the guys that I liked the best, but Gene and Paul just freaked me out, like for sure. So anyways, I opted to get the Peter Criss record, and that was a huge mistake. That was definitely probably the worst. Not that it's bad, it was just like very old-timey music. I remember that was the first time I ever got angry. Like, I got the record, I went home, I had my little kid record player, and I put it on. I was just like, had like this is the kind of sugar Papa likes or something on there, and I was like, this is bullshit. I was like so mad, because there's only so many records back then that a 9-year-old that their parents were going to buy for them. And I wasted it on that record when I clearly should have bought the Ace Frehley record, would have been the better choice. But I had no way to really, listen to it to know ahead of time. Oh, I'm talking too much. Let me get back up in here. We got Snoop Von Poop in the house, y'all. What's up? Yeah, head over to Snoop Von Poop's YouTube and give him a follow. Watch some of his interviews. He asked me today if Count Cracula and Dahlia Dark would come on his podcast, which I would have. I did ask Dahlia, and she was not into it, because and it had nothing to do with Snoop. And when she said it to me, and I had laid it out, hey, I know him, he's a fan, he shares all our stuff all the time, he's cool, blah blah. Like, it's not like I just, I really put some effort, Snoop, into like getting her to do it. I had a whole long like paragraph and everything, but she was like, I don't do those. I don't do podcasts. I go, God damn it, that's right. She told me that. Like, she told me that almost. I mean, we've been doing this for probably 9 months or something now, and she told me that even back then when I talked about maybe promoting the Fright Bite, doing interviews, and so I remembered that it's nothing to do with you, Snoop. That's just her deal, and I respect it. You know what I mean? It's kind of cool. I mean, technically the Fright Bite is a podcast, so she does do one podcast, mine. And so the fact that she turns down any other one makes me feel special, that she does mine. Out of all the people that she could go on and do podcasts, she chose to do the Fright Bite. So I let the lady have her way. People saying hi to Logan. People were super stoked on Logan Stoliker. The one show he came in and played, he looked like a young Warren, and everybody freaked out. I had like 60,000 views on the little clip I posted on Facebook from it. And you'll be seeing him play with us again when the TSO guys, Bloss and Joel, head out this winter to go on and do their Christmas thing, Arena Rock. Jimmy Deanda and Logan will come in at that time, so you will see them again. Yeah. Steel Corner. Hey, Eric, Unleashed Wednesday is here. It's cool you guys even like this. I feel it's interesting. I just turn on the mic and just burp, 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 burp. It stems back to my telemarketer days. I did probably like 10, 15 years in sales, like having to like cold call people and build a rapport with them and get them to give me their credit card number. And I guess that's where I learned to like talk for hours and hours, not necessarily to the same person. I would be hung up on all the time. But in a shift, you'd have to make like 100 phone calls or something like that. And so I just got used to talking for long periods. Dale Groot, it was 96 where I live. It was hot, but humidity wasn't bad, so it was tolerable. It's the dry heat, right? That's what they say, the dry heat. Skylar had fun at the Fright Bite last night. Well, good. No, I appreciate that you guys come to that. It's a effort to build it up, but there's plenty of probably good shows that ended because it just didn't have the right promotion or whatever. They just ended after season 2 or whatever, but it just didn't have the budget to like put it out in people's face. Part of that lies on me. Like, I got to start making reels and like promote it in other places than just perhaps my socials, personal socials. I'm trying to think of what are some other groups I could share Fright Bite. I thought of maybe sharing it on the Tubi thing, but then they're going to be like, no, your show's not on Tubi. You shouldn't be sharing that here. And I totally understand that. And I don't want to overstep. But like, I need to see if there's some group on Facebook or something where I can start sharing some of these comedy bits and promos for the show. Because I do think that there's a lot of people that would enjoy it. They just don't know it exists. RDT, I have the same guitar problems. RDT, are you who I think you are? I thought you were, you might not be who I thought you were. And I keep saying her, you might be a dude. I thought you were a female friend of our band. And I could be, and if I'm wrong, tell me, I'll stop thinking that. Hey, Eric, Warrior X, what's up? Johnny Ponder, moved to Tennessee, bro. You could buy a nice house for $300K. I'm not above that. I'm not above moving to another part of the country. I mean, just for that reason, that I could buy a nice place and maybe have a bunch of animals. And my dad did that, my dad split California back 20 plus years ago, moved out to New Hampshire and just became like a mountain man guy, just almost off the grid, almost. I mean, he has a generator for like a good part of the year, and he hunts and he fishes and he's got dogs. He was a dog rescue guy for a long time. Like that side of the family, our whole family has animals, but I'd say my dad's side of the family has a real strong connection with dogs and all kinds of animals. And so, I mean, even though I thought that was crazy, I'm like, how could you leave San Diego and move out to where you need a generator half the year? That's nuts. But as I get to the age that he was when he left, he was in his late 50s, I think, when he moved out there. He just saw where California was going, I guess, and that he wanted to be somewhere that had no income tax. And he decided to go to New Hampshire and just be at one with the earth. And he seems happy. He's been happy, and that's all that matters. Like at the end of the day. On the flip side, had he kept that house here, he'd be a millionaire. As would my mom if she had kept my grandparents' condo when they passed away. I begged her not to sell that. And I was probably in my early 20s at the time, and I was like, please keep it in our family. Please keep it as a rental. Do something. Don't sell it. And she sold it for like $80,000. It's worth like $1 million now. I mean, these little things, I guess I'll call them real mistakes that people make. But I've seen people also, God, I think my sister, they had first like a townhousey kind of place for their first family's house place in La Costa here in North County, and then moved to Temecula back. God, this is like probably 10, 15 years ago. And that was supposed to be like a big developing neighborhood. And it was a great house, I thought, but they put a lot of money into it, but the values just dropped over the next years. Like they actually lost like money on that place to get out of it. Me personally, I'd never really worked on my credit until the last decade, and it just wasn't in the cards as a musician. Like to get a big home loan, you got to really like be able to prove your income. And playing in the Stephen Pearcy band for the last 25 years has been, it was a real bumpy thing for a long time. And then now I'd say in the last 5 years, it's been financially the best it's ever been for me, pay wise and that sort of thing here at the end of it. You know what I mean? But for the majority of it, I wasn't really making all that much. And we weren't playing a ton all the time, especially when Rat was like doing tours. We were mostly just playing in the dangerous times of the year, like the fall and the winter. Like every summer he seemed to be out with Rat for half that time of the 25 years I've been playing for him. So that was one of the sacrifices, not having the chance to have bought a condo at least or something, that most normal people that have a job would have done by the time they were in their 30s, if not sooner. So I kind of lost out on that. But as far as like life itself goes, I mean, regardless if you own 100 houses or no houses, happiness is actually a choice. And I see a lot of people that seem to on paper have a lot and they're not happy. You know what I mean? And it could be marriage, it could be the stress of job related stuff. I mean, where some of these overachievers die in their 50s, you know what I mean? They straight up have a stroke and die, a heart attack and die. You know what I mean? I've chosen to kind of be the laid back man. I'm the thinker, the dreamer, the pot smoking songwriter, guy. And because I think the problem is I've always known that we leave here with nothing. No matter what property you had or what, you ain't taking it with you when you die. Now, when you have a family and you have kids and a wife, all these priorities change. And, that was a big sacrifice. I stayed single. I've never been married. To my knowledge, I don't have any kids. Oh, John Stevens. Oh, look at that. You are throwing down on the Unleashed channel for the kiddies. Yeah. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. It helps, of course, support the channel. We got the new computer and we got the StreamYard and all the apps for editing and all these subscriptions. It does add up, but I appreciate all of you that come back every week, and I'm doing my best to keep you entertained. I'm happy that you're cool with the 1-2 punch of Tuesday, Wednesday, as far as Fright Bite and these Unleashed. And now that I'm back with Stephen playing, you get more road videos and stuff too, which I'm sure is interesting. Good to see Skojo tonight. He's been out a couple weeks, bro. If you guys weren't aware, Scott's wife of 35 years passed away very recently, and it was a super, super, super big bummer to have a big part of your life like that come to an end here in this realm. And so our thoughts out to Skojo. We're of course happy to see you here. You're headed to Minnesota in the morning. Yeah. Debbie, I think they're doing a live stream of her funeral, which is cool that nowadays that can be done. You know what I mean? It's not always easy for family to get to places and friends and so forth. So it is cool. They do a live stream. I have met Debbie years ago, and she was a nice lady, and that, they shared a home and pets and, kids, raising her kids. And this is just it's a bummer, man. And it's like, that's the one shitty thing, right? About as we get older, having to see our family members pass away, our friends pass away. And there's been a lot of those, a lot of people that you wouldn't think at their age would be gone. And we maybe because we're all connected through Facebook, that I see this all the time. I don't know about you guys, but it looks like a lot of people their health is just taking a turn, man. We gotta take care of each other and look out for each other. One thing I said that I would do health-wise was share some of my medical information. Remember, I was like, I'm not taking statins anymore. And I made this big statin, speech. And I did my own little experimentation where I stopped taking them. Now, I probably should have just lowered to a smaller amount or tried a different one. They were giving me the big boys. They were giving me like the 80 milligram ones, statins at night. It was like one big horse pill, and it was really messing me up just cognitive wise, and I started to learn that there's a lot of bad side effects from those over the years, and it could cause all these problems. Your body needs cholesterol to repair stuff, and your brain uses it is all cholesterol, really. So even though it does achieve getting your bad cholesterol down, it's like, at what cost, and I haven't quite weighed out the health thing, you know what I mean? Because I have had a heart attack, and so I am in a group of people that's more at high risk for these sort of things, right? So anyways, I got my test back is where I'm going with this. And sure enough, it was pretty high, the cholesterol. the bad cholesterol. It was above what it should be by a good couple points. You know what I mean? So I don't like seeing abnormal come up on there. So I had to kind of concede that I need a little more help. That even though I lost over 25 pounds, close to 30 pounds, that it wasn't enough to get for my body type or whatever, my sticky Italian blood, uh, whatever's going on, my tiny veins, whatever's going on. They're just like, you got to be on something. So there's other friends of mine that are also on this one that I switched to, and it's a smaller amount of milligrams that apparently doesn't break the blood brain barrier. And so I did have to like start taking that again and all, but this is only like a 10 milligram pill, and I just started taking it recently. It was funny just even like getting the prescription filled at the old pharmacy. They have the weirdest hours at this place. Like you would think that you'd be able to like go to a pharmacy at like 7 or 8 in the morning or even 9 in the morning, right? This pharmacy doesn't even open till 10 a.m. It's a save on pharmacy. It doesn't open till 10 a.m. And then at 1 o'clock, they take an hour lunch and they shut the whole thing down. I was like, really? So you're telling me I can't come in there until 10 a.m. and if I shot for the afternoon, if I happen to come there between 1 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm totally out of luck. I looked at it again because I had to go in there today to pick up some other medications, and I looked, and I guess it makes sense. They're open like 10 to 7 Monday through Friday and 9 to 5 on the weekend. So I guess when I look at it that way, it's okay. But the thought that if you had a job there, they usually have 2 people working there, and you're getting to work at 10 a.m. and you're taking an hour lunch 3 hours later just seemed weird to me. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's normal. I don't know. For me, there was 2 times I went down to pick up these pills and they were closed. That thing was there. I was so pissed off. And now it's like the 3rd time I went down there today, and I finally was able to get them. And there's always an Asian lady or guy. No, it's always a lady, Asian lady working there. And then this other like younger generation person working there. And I take it that the Asian person's the more qualified to be handling these drugs and filling the prescriptions, and the other guys like in training or whatever. But typically they always start to try to convince me to take a vaccine, and it offends me, and it takes all the good thing I'm on blood pressure medication, because it takes all my wherewithal to be patient with these people and not be rude to another human being or just be a jerk. You know what I mean? To just politely decline it, right? I go, no, ma'am, thank you. No, I don't do those. Thank you for the offer, and move on. But it's like, it's been a hard sell. I mean, like, finally, it's not the goddamn COVID vaccine, right? After 5 years, actually not 5. Yeah, I'd say 4 years ever since I had the heart attack or whatever. I've had to go get these medications. And, for this time, it was the COVID vaccine. Every time I went in there for a refill, the COVID vaccine, you could get your COVID. And I'm just going, you're killing people with those, but I don't want to like get into all that at the save on. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to decline it, but it's scary to me when they're trying to give you something that's totally not good for you. It makes you rethink these other things that you're taking. Are those not good for me either? Now you've made me lose faith in you. The fact that you're like, and then it became the whooping cough. It was like a whooping cough thing they were trying to get me to take, and I declined that, and they were trying to guilt trip me on it. It's killing kids. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not taking it. And so I didn't take that. Then it was the shingles vaccine, and you're old. You got to take the shingles vaccine. You got to do it, because if you don't, it always becomes like a threat, right? If you don't take this, you know what's going to happen to you? It's going to be so bad, so bad. And, they give you these worst case scenarios. If you get it in your eye, you'll be blind. And you're like, shit, I better take this shingles vaccine. No, but I never took that either. I did watch my stepdad, it was in his 70s, right? And he, of course, they scared him taking all these vaccines, but he's dead now. By the way, he passed away. That was I've suffered the loss of a family member recently, also him. But he took that shingles vaccine, and guess what? He got a month later. Goddamn shingles. Is that how it's supposed to be? No thanks, man. It's like, when you stop and go, well, they're going to inject you with a little bit of whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's like, you're willing to do that. Everybody sounds like they're such germaphobes all the time, especially during COVID. They really showed their true cowardness with the germs. You know what I mean? But when you think that they're going to give you a little of whatever this thing is, and like, people are always willing to do it. I don't think people would do it if it was the AIDS one. I think that if they said, hey, you better take this AIDS vaccine, that's where you guys probably would all draw the line. You guys would probably go, no, I don't want you to put a little bit of AIDS in me. You know what I mean? Like, but all this stuff, I mean, they've all made a bigger deal out of it than what people used to make. I mean, it's a reminder of it is like when you watch shows like the Little Rascals or something, and you see some of the illnesses that they got back then that was just common for them. It wasn't well, of course, chickenpox. They would like do episodes like that. I don't think it was polio. There was another one that they give all the kids shot for that back then. They would even put everybody together just to get it. It wasn't that big of a deal when you're young and you're kids. That's the time to get all that stuff, and then you build up a true immunity to it that lasts forever. And that's, I mean, even Fauci like had said that at some point. He even admitted that the only way to really get the best immunity is to catch whatever that disease, virus is or whatever, and I've caught COVID before, and I never get sick, and I travel so much. And it's like my mom just went to go travel, and she got so sick from it, got some crazy eye infection. My brother and my brother-in-law, my sister, they've gotten COVID like 20 times. Like, what is that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm the only like test group, the only guy in our whole family that didn't do that. And I never get sick. I'm not trying to make anybody jealous about it. I'm just stating the truth. And I've maintained every time I go to these pharmacies or doctor's appointments, and it always feels like it's a money. It is a money thing. It's their big pharma paying these clinics to push their pills, and that's all they know. That's all these doctors know, is to prescribe these pills. That's it. They're just drug dealers, really, at the end of the day. Of course, when we break our leg or arm or have something, we get shot or stabbed, right? Then we're going to go to the emergency room. And I've had to go to the emergency room for shit too, for bar fights and broken glass and cuts and things like that. Well, look who's here tonight. My super carrot, Marsha B. Hello all. What is everyone's plans for 4th of July? Coming up. Thank you so much. Marsha had a rough night last night, as I was saying. It was like in the 90s in her house, and she has all these rescue cats there in her garage, and she was having to bring them into her son Landon's room where it was cooler. It was a cooler 93 instead of the 100 that it was in the garage. And I love anyone that's a friend to the animals, and Marsha definitely is going to heaven for her her work with animals. But thank you, Marsha. I appreciate it. And hey, man, we got Spicoli for the weed fund, son.
I know that, dude. Hey, bud, let's party.
What are you people? On dope?
Man, I'll tell you, Susan ain't having the weed thing anymore. I gotta like, if she even catches a whiff, it's like getting caught by your mom. Seriously, like back when you were 15 and your mom caught you or something. It's like that bad. She's just standing there, not saying anything, just like that mom. She is a mom. Susan raised two wonderful young people out there in the world. That's probably her greatest contribution. But it's definitely a mom kind of reprimand deal treatment. I mean, she's always known that I've smoked. I mean, I'm a rock guy. I'm just like, it's part of my culture. It's like, I know I'm not Jamaican, but kind of like maybe I was in a past life. I'm not sure, but it's just something, that's how I live my life, you know? And I quit cigarettes. That's as far as I went. I finally was able to quit the cigarettes. And for the most part, I breathe pretty well. So I'm going to continue on pool time with Ron for the weed fun, son. Yeah, come on. I always have to have some herbs here. I actually started to store it outside because I felt like one of her complaints was, she's like, it smells like your old apartment in here. And I was like, shit, what is it? And I think it was maybe because, you know, if I had the Ziploc thing you buy, like once you've opened that and close it, it still stinks up a little bit or something. But now I'm like stashing it out on the patio. But yes, I just want you to know that I am using the contributions as you directed me to. I don't want to get in trouble with the law for misappropriation of funds. And if you're telling me it's for the weed fund, then it's got to be for the weed fund. And also, Pool Time does have a YouTube channel. If I didn't mention that, so go give Pool Time with Ron a sub and watch some of his stuff as well. Thank you, Spicoli, sir. Good to see you tonight. He had a fun time at the Fright Bite. Also, I like my regulars here, man. It's good stuff. It's just like our weekly hang. Dale Hap. Hey, bro, you look a little tired today. I just tuned in. You've been going hard, it seems, with playing and podcasting too. You're getting up there a bit at a time, though. Your channel's growing. Yes. I'm gonna do my eyebrows. Yeah, you know, looking a little tired because, you know, I'm 53 years old, and I've always had the Italian bags under my eyes. That's, I mean, I could show you a picture of me from, I'm not going to, but I look like Chachi from Happy Days. But I always had those like bags. My mom's side of the family, we just have those kind of like dark circles under our eyes. We just always have had them. Yeah, I guess if I don't get a crazy amount of sleep, they could puff up a little bit, but you know, I've opted not to go the plastic surgery route. It's just kind of sad. I mean, at least for a guy, I don't think guys really need to do that. I mean, I know women are all in on it, which is kind of sad. In a way that we're getting to that point where people think they got to turn themselves into aliens. Jeez. Johnny Ponder, any chance of bringing Matt on for Hangout? Well, that's it. I'm going to ask him because you're like the fifth person probably to ask about having Matt Thorne on the show. So I will actually ask the guy to come on. In fact, I will ask him if he's willing to come on next week. All right. So leave me alone. No, he'll be probably flattered that you guys all seem to want to have him on the show. Spicoli's here. This party, dude. Can you fire it up tonight, Rockstar? Yeah, no. Not if I want a place to live. You know, she's just upset, guys. It's like it's not just me, it's just everything. I think living down here at the beach has just run its course with her. She's like lived here a year longer than I have, almost 2 years longer than I have. And everything about this, the cars peeling out, the explosive devices exploding, the screaming people, the specifically the vacationers that come and stay in the unit above us. The last couple of weeks, it's been really bad. It's been a lot of like church groups coming out here for events, and they got like they're big people from like Arizona and these places, and they have these like husky, that's the word I come up with, husky kids. You know, these people are huge. Like, by the way, I saw somebody a few weeks ago, this guy to be like 7 feet tall. Like maybe aliens do exist You know, have you heard of the Talls? I think it was one of the Talls escaped from Area 51 and we vacationed with his kids over here. And anyways, he had to duck down to get in the elevator, and his wife was way taller than me, and they're like their 10-year-old kids were taller than me, for whatever that's worth. But they're up there. I don't know what's up with these parents, man. Like they letting their kids. You could hear them being like, that shit would never fly with my parents. You know, when we were kids, there wouldn't be like, because what happens, right? When you run around like that in the house, you're gonna fall and hit your head on the corner of a table, and you're gonna have to go to the emergency room and get stitches and spend the night in the ER. And I'm sure any of you guys that have brothers, I never had a brother, so you know, brothers beat the crap out of each other, brothers chase each other around. I realized I missed out on that. I had a younger sister, and we're like 5 years age difference. We really kind of led separate lives growing up. We certainly didn't beat each other up or anything. But I just don't understand how we're hearing somebody like running across an entire which I'm assuming is another 2-bedroom condo up there, just running around like it's like, man, I blame the parents. It's these free range parents out there. But it's taken its toll on her. You know what I mean? She has this huge like walking stick, and she now is like taking it and just she's like freaking out and becoming completely unhinged, and just like she's gonna impale one of these kids through the freaking ceiling. It's gonna go up through the ceiling and right up this kid's ass and through his head. I swear to God, she's losing her mind, and she's just always unhappy. And then she'll, like, if that's not enough, she'll like catch a whiff of weed, come off the patio. I used to try to get away with smoking it in my room, like in the bathroom, and blowing it out the window and stuff. And she would catch a whiff again, start demanding, "Why can't you just go outside?" And I tried to just go outside. So now I go outside, I shut the thing. But now that she's in this state, which I should also add another twist to this, ever since Donald Trump got elected as president, which is what, a year and a half ago, she has become the most miserable person on the planet. She is so just at a constant state of annoyance all the time. It starts with her. I don't watch the news personally, but I know that she does in her room. She gets up and the news is on, and she watches and sees the politics, and it gets her all riled up. And then she's not gotten a good night's sleep because of the people upstairs. And then she smells me, this guy who somehow created this life for himself that doesn't involve going to an office Monday through Friday. I created a life where I put on my tight pants and I grab a guitar and I go play a concert, and then I'm home, and then I'm doing other stuff. I do another creative stuff at home, and but in her mind, she's got this like drug addict that needs to go to rehab, right? Because she catches a whiff of this weed and like, "What's wrong with you? Why can't you just not smoke weed?" I don't know why. It's just because maybe for like, I don't know, the last 40 years I've been smoking it, and I don't plan on stopping for you or anybody, you know, but then that's why I lived alone for so long. You know what I mean? You can't expect people to like put up with your shit. And if you find somebody else who also did that, then the place would just be like the cops would probably get called, you know what I mean? Or, you know, the HOA would probably start getting involved. There'd be way too much smoke going on. But I did like at least keep to like going out on the patio. But now there's like a new layer of security going on where I have to like go into her, I have to knock on a door, go into her room and shut this little like bathroom window thing. And if I forget to do that, like there's been times I would forget, and then there she was. And it's like, fuck. I'm not maliciously trying to upset her, you know what I mean? But I don't know. It's just like it's been tough around here. And I don't know. Tonight, I guess she said that she is looking at other places. She's looking for another place. Places are so expensive now since we've moved in together and been living here. Like, if it was that easy, I probably would have found a different spot. But literally, like, where the deal that I'm paying, I would have to pay probably 1,000 more a month, and I would be nowhere near the beach. So that means something to me. You know what I mean? I'd be giving up a lot. Plus, her cat, like, I've taken a whole new level of care of her cat, Charlie Cat. Any of you guys that know me know that Charlie Cat's like my best pal next to my cat, Kylie, right? Like, I spend every day with these two. They're with me all the time. When I met Susan, her cat was not in a good way. Like, she had rotten teeth and had infections in her mouth and had terrible breath, and like, I knew something was wrong. I pushed her to pay to get the cat's teeth pulled or whatever needed to be done. You know, she had Charlie Cat had terrible acne on her under her chin, right? You know what that is? Dirty bowl. That's a dirty wad, or somebody not keeping the food bowls up to snuff. You know what I mean? Like, these are all things, and it was because Susan was a professional woman. You know what I mean? A woman takes more time to get ready in the mornings. It just wasn't like a priority. Plus, when she moved here after a 20-year marriage, you know, she was going to bars and partying it up for a while. And so sometimes she would go straight from work to a bar to meet her friends and these things. And well, she's got two cats that's sitting at home waiting to be fed. You know what I mean? Like, for me, these cats get fed at the same time every day. They get their brushes. I mean, I'm like a proprietor of a cat restaurant. You know, you could, when the cats come in, I'm in the kitchen. Hey, kitties, good morning to you. And I'm like hand washing their ceramic bowls, right? And toweling them out and getting them all nice and giving them their fresh water from the fridge. Like, she didn't have no bottled water when I moved in. She had one of those what do you call that filtered shit? It's like a pitcher, and you have the filter thing on it, and you take tap water and then you leave it in the fridge, and then it filters through and it tastes like goddamn toilet water. I was like, like, I go and buy like a 6 thing of the geyser waters or whatever, and I have to have like at least some kind of like pro filtered water, preferably spring water. And so I'm like the guy who makes sure we have all the supplies, like, plus I now like pay for all the cat stuff. You know what I mean? I have chicken, tuna. I do buy kibble for them, right? Iams, if you're curious. But what am I trying to say? I take such good care of these cats. Seriously. I mean, it's like these cats go to a salon every day. You know what I mean? They each have their own brush, and I take the time to brush them every day and do all their stuff with the food, play with them, give them lots of affection, their treats. And then all of a sudden I'm supposed to, like, what happens? That's like, now I know how it feels in a possibly a divorce, right? You might lose your your kids or whatever. But like, sometimes like pets are even worse, because like kids, as they grow up, especially teenagers or even tweens, can be the worst. You know what I mean? Where you're like, go with your mother, or whatever. But like cats, they're like the same awesome animal every day that's like sweet and affectionate and fluffy and cuddly and like an emotional support animal through all the rigors of life. And you get so attached, like, I pretend like when I'm brushing Charlie in the morning, I'm like, okay, we're gonna get y'all ready for school today. That's stupid. I'm insane, right? Anyways, she's a long-haired cat. She takes it. It's important. Like, if you don't do that, she'll like just rip her own hair out. You'll see like clumps of white hair just all throughout the condo and stuff. So like, I'm just trying to say, like, I do a lot here. I'm not like one of those couch surfing dudes that's just like sponging or whatever. I pay for half this place, and I only have one room in it. You know what I mean? I pay for all the cat stuff. I pay for all the groceries. I do all the cooking. I do all the cleaning. I try to take the sting out of seeing that I'm not at a regular day job, every day. But whatever. I mean, I wish that she could find peace because I don't think living somewhere else is really going to change all this for her. You know what I mean? Like I said, the moral of the story, happiness is a choice, and I've also felt like when it comes to relationships, it's, if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with, right? Like the song goes. But there's just a point where relationships are work, and most of them are. I guess you hear there's some types of magical people that occasionally find each other and they finish each other's sentences and they have all the same interests and they never fight and they make love every night and they have dinner, and then they're tragically killed in a car accident on their way home from a donation fundraiser, right, for Children's Hospital, right? I don't know. But the rest of us, it's like pretty much insert relationship here, you know what I mean? And they're all like work and sacrifice of time and, patience and, it's what I'm talking about, right? All those of you that have been in, long term. And it's just like, man, I'm at a point, just appreciate that we have this great place, a roof over our head, these amazing pets. You're at the goddamn beach, woman. Come on. You put up with a little stomping around, but you're at the goddamn beach. Amazingly enough, I've only recently started going down to the beach again. Like since I started this channel, I stopped going to the beach, surprisingly. And it was because of what's his face, who was making fun of me on his show, like making fun of sea glass hunters and stuff like that. And that would really upset me because at that time I was trying to start a YouTube channel. And I started one called Sea Glass Hunters, and I was like out trying to share my life here on the beach with everybody. I thought that would be something interesting to people that don't live here, and it was a slow rollout to do that. That channel exists still. It's not this one. It's a different channel, Sea Glass Hunters. And I'd had no talking in it. It was just me on the beach picking up sea glass that I would find because I would collect it, and seashells. I would do other beach combing stuff while I was at it. And I was sharing it, and he every week would make some comment, apparently like shit talking it. And he was making all this money and getting all these follows through our band, putting road videos of our band. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm out here with 100 subs and this guy's shit talking me for my own band. How about I make my own road videos and we'll see how that goes. And then all of a sudden thousands of people are like subscribing, so what does that tell you? It goes to show you he had nothing to do with that success of the channel building up from there, that it was the Stephen Pearcy number one, right? Stephen fucking Pearcy from Rat, the guy who sold millions of records. That's the main carrot. That's the main guy that brings the interest into this channel. And then it's me, secondary, me as a person, right? Or my life playing guitar for him all these years is interesting to some people. And then everything else was just kind of a spin-off, I had to start this it used to be a Friday night thing, but I had to do this Wednesday night thing to get my reputation back that he destroyed, that he spent 4 years destroying to his fan base on a weekly basis. And no one was seeing me on there because I told him I didn't want to be on his show if he was going to be, showing me like that or whatever. And, so people weren't hearing my side of things. They weren't seeing me. They just thought I was some dick that just didn't want to be a part of it. Or I would see, even lately, some of the fans of his show would say that publicly about me. Oh, he was the problem. He's the one nobody likes. He's not one of them. And it's like, none of that was true. I'm very well liked. In fact, I didn't realize how well liked I was, from people like Matt and Bloss and these people, where I was like, I'll be real with you guys. Like, I didn't know what Bloss Elias thought of me, even after playing with him for 2 years, because he's so professional that it's just not at that level. You know what I mean? He's business. The guy's just all business, and that's how you should be. If you're going to go get the big gigs, they don't want to hire drama. Okay. They want to hire a guy that knows what his job is, going to do it and do it great. And that's what he does. And so we never really, talked about these, this soap opera shit. You know what I mean? And I actually assumed that he thought he was okay with everything that was going on, you know. But the truth was he didn't really know what was even going on, just like most of these guys did, and Stephen mostly, right? They didn't watch his show. That's the end. That's the bottom line. And we've discussed this amongst ourselves and stuff. It's like, dude, I didn't know this was happening. I didn't watch the show, and like legitimately felt bad about it for me, like seriously, like apologized to me that I had to put up with that for 3 years, which was a crazy amount of time not to put up with either one of those two jabronis. But what's exciting now is to have survived it, I guess, in a way. I don't want to be too over dramatic about it. It's not like I was locked in some dude's sex torture basement for 10 years, you know, or something like that. It wasn't that bad, you know what I mean? I was still performing on stage and you know, getting paid really good, you know, to do it. So it wasn't all that awful, but it just could have been so much better. I think, what am I saying here? It like playing with like a Joel Hoekstra, if you were curious how I feel about that, it actually pissed me off, and not for the reasons you would think. It pissed me off because I was like, we could have had this the whole time and we were putting up with that when we could have had this. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, he's a fucking performer. You know, Logan, you are too, if you're still here tonight. Logan also has the fire that we need up there. At this point, Stephen is in a couple days going to be 70 years old. Please wish him a happy birthday and thank him for all his contributions this July 3rd. If you have access to his socials or whatever, give him a mention in your post. Share your favorite rat photo from your life that you had from your teenage magazine days. I don't know, your posters on the wall. But anyways, what am I saying? Hey, we need as a band to keep the excitement up there. We have to have some life on stage. Bloss was a huge raising of the stocks with that, you know what I mean? His drumming he's very animated up there, right? It makes a difference. To see Joel up there, he performs in TSO, is like a arena level production. It's like a Kiss production with pyrotechnics and risers and all this stuff that goes on. It's like the pinnacle of a rock show, the TSO, Trans-Siberian Orchestra. So when you get to that point, that's just, you have to be a top-notch performer, world class, to be given that opportunity to play that. So to have him bringing that to the stage just ups our ante, you know what I mean? It's like I could see it happening, even though we're still like, we don't really rehearse, so we make a couple mistakes, right? There's some bad notes, whatever. He's learning the songs. I haven't been playing that much, honestly, myself. But anyways, with all that aside, I can sense from the crowd that we're taking them up a notch from what we were before. Now, granted, I think the reason why people went along with things for as long as they did to the public was because they were starving for some rat. They're like, give us some rat. You know, if they have their first choice, they'd want to have all the original guys, right? But you know, if not, they want Steven and the best lineup he can muster together. And they've been forgiving, in my opinion. You know, they've been forgiving of some of the stuff leading up to these last couple years with some of our lineups that we've had and performances we've done. But I feel like, damn, we're at this point now where you're getting like a world-class kind of performance from the band and stuff, and it's translating to the crowd. I mentioned last week, I'm seeing people getting on shoulders. I'm seeing old titties coming out. No, I don't know if I saw Danny titties, but I'm just seeing these reactions, you know, from these older crowds, you know, and to get that out of them, something cool is happening here. So I wish we had more shows. I wish this was like a 30-date run and we would have been really blowing people's minds within a few shows. It's so cool to like just the running back and forth and the action that's happening up there now is awesome. So pretty great stuff. Stoney's saying you're doing a fantastic job at putting Fright Bite together, and we applaud you. Thank you, Stoney. You're definitely. I was thinking about this today, and I'm not pandering to the crowd, but I know who the original Fright Biters are. Okay, I know who all of you are that have been with me since day one. Now, if somehow, some way, the Fright Bite was to take off, and I have all of a sudden like $50 million, I'm going to go full Oprah Winfrey, and I'm going to buy all the original Fright Biters a car or something. Give them a car. Give them a fucking car. Right? I'm going to do it. No, I mean, I have big dreams, but, you know, there's always people that reel me in that don't necessarily believe in it. You know, one thing with all the doom scrolling we do, there's also a lot of TikTok-y life enhancement stuff, right, that comes across, or therapy things, or, you know, when you've been wrong, there's all of a sudden your phone knows everything, and then you get a bunch of stuff regarding that, and tips and advice and things. But one thing that came up, and I don't know if it's gonna heard me talking about it at some point, but I had made mention that none of my family or friends that I've known forever ever like my stuff or promote it. And it's like, it's kind of sad, right, to hear that. But I kind of found out that there's a reason. I found out through one of those videos, you know what I mean, that it's just a psychological thing, that it is in jealousy. It's rooted in jealousy. But it also has to do with them knowing me in my life, and like knowing the real me, if you will, right? Knowing the guy who's made mistakes, knowing the guy who's had whatever. I'm sure that's part of it, right? It's not like my life's been a win the whole time. I mean, certainly not. And I get, when people say they have no regrets, I'm like, you lying son of a bitch. Of course you have. Everybody has regrets. But I think maybe that's a part of it. It's strange. And I thought, wow, because excuse me, he gets to 53. You've known a lot of people in that time. I mean, every time I even go to start deleting people off of Facebook, because I have 5,000, and it's like I know them all from somewhere. I know they've been on my page for a long time, and it's hard for me to do that. But at the same time, I'm like, man, there's 7,000 people or more, you know, follow me on Facebook, and only 200 people are watching the Fright Bite. Like, you know, it would help if more people shared it. But people like Stoney, who aren't my family member, who haven't known me for more than like a year, people like him are sharing the shit out of it. You know what I mean? But in the end, like, I have to retrain my brain just to freaking be grateful for that. You know what I mean? Like people like Stoney and Marsha and Jay Krager, you know, the people that are at the grassroots level that like are taking my show advertisements and, you know, sharing it on their page and trying to get people to come to the live shows. Like, thank you so much. Cause like, seriously, if you guys didn't do that, nobody would. Cause it's not like, you know, my mommy and daddy are doing it, or my high school friends, or like, I don't know what their deal is. You know what I mean? Because some of it seems funny enough to be some of these comedy viral videos that I see out there that have 1 million views, you know, but at this beginning stages, it's going to take people sharing it and stuff. So you guys that do, thank you, or at least give it a like, right? Del Hap, that's freaking hilarious, dude. Skunko. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, Matt would be cool. So handle it, my dude. Yep, I'm going to have to text him after the show tonight and go, dude, too many people are asking. Would you please come on the show next week? And Joel Hoekstra also asked about coming on. And I'm gonna do that. I wanted to get to know him a little more first. You know what I mean? I want to, because that's the only way to really like learn about people. I mean, I could do I'm gonna go search for guests to be on the show every Wednesday and have to go research them, and I hate doing that shit. Like, I like to live with the person and travel with them and like kind of hear their stories. Like, he's got a bunch of stories, Joel. You know, so as you know, we've done our like third trip or whatever together. We've done what, like 3 or 4 shows. As we do more and I get to know him, I'll feel more comfortable having to come on. Now, Matt, I've known since I was like 22 years old or something like that. I got another super chat in here and I wonder, oh, it's no, it's Jim Martinez became a member of the channel. Dude. Thank you, sir. Thanks for becoming a member of the channel. Definitely one of the biggest supporters of mine. So thank you very much. And I know I keep promising to put more stuff on the channel for the members, and I do need to do that. You know, as I was gonna pull up something funny on here. I like maybe some green screen stuff so you guys can see a little behind the scenes. This is stuff I was thinking about like putting on, but like when I have to film those things, this is really what's there, a green screen. I gotta struggle with the it's kind of sad and pathetic to watch. But if you edit it right and kind of grab just enough of the right parts or whatever, you can kind of make it work. I mean, the real magic is doing the voiceover, because I mean, you could basically take any footage of anybody and change what they're saying and make it a comedy bit. You know, I've always been into doing that and found that kind of stuff to be hilarious. One of my favorite stuff is the shreds videos where they take a band and then like take the audio away and like replace it with really bad instruments. And the Billy Squier one's probably one of the best ones, but all that's pretty funny. Johnny Ponder, I literally have baby skunks invading my property. My dog and I are not happy. Yeah, another friend of mine mentioned that today, that her dog also got sprayed by a skunk. I know that Agent Skunk, dude. Ha ha. Yeah.
What are you people? On dope?
John Evans, around here, everybody calls him Matthew and Methany. Yeah, Matthew. Might be able to. Yeah, what I called him Methy McMetherton. I think I stole that from a comedy movie, possibly, or somebody did something like that. Was it Winona Ryder? Is that what I'm remembering? Did she have something like that? Spicoli, tell us about the last show, my dude. Yeah, I started to kind of tell you guys about it. It was just, the crowd was great and they seemed to be entertained, and but it just had it was a lot of just technical problems with the cables and shit. And I really do hate that, because like I said, I mean, Stephen takes really great care of me, but we just don't play enough to my liking. You know what I mean? Like, I want to play like at least 100 shows a year. I mean, our best recent year that we had was 2024. We played, I think, 60 something shows, close to 70. And that was great. You know, it was a lot of work. But it had its rewards, right? And it was just good for the performance factor. Just staying out there, lean and mean, whatever. But now it's just, we're not like playing as often, and when we have problems at a show like that, it makes me more kind of ticked off. I'm like, geez, I don't get to do this that often. Can we at least have my guitar out there? But you know, at the same time, I do try to kind of just look forward and move on, you know. But a lot of people film stuff right nowadays, so when you get these situations, it's up there forever, and so I might as well make some money off it. So I showed even some of it. Whatever. I mean, it's not every show that happens, but when I watch a video and I can't hear my guitar in it, it does annoy me. It's like, jeez. So yeah, it wasn't like the last show wasn't so great. The performance in Gary, Indiana, that one was great as far as the equipment and the sound people working at it. We were just exhausted because we're up all night to get to it. All our flights got canceled because of the weather in Chicago, and this was like a 2-show weekend. Even though I split up those road vlogs, that Gary, Indiana road vlog and this Wisconsin one was actually all happened in 2 days. Yeah. So that was actually that would have been a 4-day trip for me. The day of traveling and then the next day playing a show, getting to the next gig on the 3rd day, and then the 4th day flying back home. I love having 2 shows because when you only have one, that's 3 days you're gone and being paid for one. So even if it seems like you got a lot of money, when you divide it by 3, you're making as much as most people probably make at their job, which whatever. It's okay. It's okay. But if you could do 2 gigs, you're coming home with twice as much money just for staying one extra day. It's like an upsell that's worth it, right? How would you like to get twice as much money by staying one more day? It's almost like when you're at the airport and they ask for people that want to like be bumped off the flight, and they're like, how would you like to get booked on the next flight, but we'll give you $1,000 for doing it if you get off this one and let us put these other people on. And like sometimes they actually give an offer that's so good and you are flexible and you actually get paid a bunch of money. I have seen it happen. There's been times where I could have made money, but I wanted to go home so bad because I was so beat. I just wanted to get home. I didn't care that it was like $500 or whatever. I'm like, I don't care about $500. Just send me home. But I have had bandmates and stuff that have taken advantage of that, and they'll like put it on a gift card and whatever. And so to inconvenience you a little bit, they're paying you money, and all of a sudden it makes it worthwhile. But yeah, to do a second show, it should always be like that. But for whatever business reasons, bad or good, there's a lot of times it seems like we're just go out for one show and it's 2 freaking fly days and then that show. And it's a lot for one gig. But I like to let you guys see a little bit of how it works. And that's why I continue on the tradition of those road videos for better or worse. And you know what? Sometimes it's good to put a not so great road video out, so that way when there's one that's amazing, you'll appreciate it, right? See, that's really what I'm doing. What's this? Spicoli. The last rock show. Yeah, that was the last one was this Wisconsin one. And it was cool. I love seeing the other band guys. It's cool to like hang out with Sebastian Bach and stuff like that. He was such a huge rock star when I was a teenager, you know what I mean? So it was that was one thing I liked about the last video that I put out is you see Sebastian playing on stage, and then you see a little bit of us watching him from our backstage, and then you see us drive up to the stage in like a little van that they had to transport the guys, because the backstage area was actually like a couple football fields away, so they had this van to take us over to the stage. And since there wasn't like really a backstage at this event outside there, we just were waiting in that van. But right when Sebastian got off stage, he came right on the van. And you see Sebastian come up on, he's like, hey, he's all buzzed. He's like, hey, what's up? And he's like high-fiving and, talking for a minute. But just how that laid out, like the vantage points of everybody there, what it was like if you were in the crowd, if you were in the band backstage, and then what it's like to actually know this guy and have him step on the bus and say hey to you after. It's interesting, it's interesting stuff. And so if you haven't seen it, check it out. It would be Road to Wisconsin on there. And the next stuff we're doing, I think we're going to Rhode Island and Connecticut, or like the next shows. I think it's August. So the next gig I'm doing is with the Project. It's at the end of the month at the Tiki Bar in Costa Mesa here. If you're in SoCal area, I want to say it's like July 30th. I want to say it's the Friday. It's whatever that last Friday is in July. But I'm pretty much just home, doing these live stuff with you guys, these hangouts, and the Fright Bite, right? And just trying to get this channel worked up. Wolf Riptine. That could be the name. Am I saying it like you mean it? Wolf Cryptine. Wolf Cryptine. How's that? That's how you meant it. Wolf Cryptine. Wolf Cryptine. Well, I'll put that in the suggestion box. Call him Bob Morales. Richie's brother from La Bamba movie, the first dirtbag who came to mind. Oh, okay. That's a thought. That is a good movie, La Bamba. Richie and his magic guitar, his flying guitar. His brother was so jealous. Via Extraterrestrial says we should call him Lobo Loco. Lobo Loco. That's a possibility. I like that. I mean, there is Dr. Loco.
I used to work at SpaceX before I developed this meth habit. Maybe I can help. Lobo, you left the security door unlocked again.
Which is Spanish for wolf, for any gringos out there that don't know that. Yeah, that was my thinking for the scientist, Dr. Theodore Lobo. I came up for that. So, but I do A for effort on Lobo Loco. That is a good thought. And the guy that we're trying to come up for a name for, guys, is this guy. Oh shit. This guy. Hold on. What's wrong with me? This guy. Okay. We're trying to come up with a name for this guy. Before he was turned into a werewolf with the werewolf accelerator, he was a tweaker that you just found in the outside in the park or whatever. And then they put him in the werewolf accelerator machine and he came out and he's still kind of a tweaker. So we thought maybe a name that would possibly indicate that on there. So if you're coming in late, this is the guy I don't have a name for. We're just kind of referred to him as a meth head on the most recent Fright Bite. I like the British accent. Well, good. Somebody wants a DLR scream. There you go. Bro, I'm a man. You know what? I thought you were our friend. And I'm so sorry. I will never make that mistake. I'm all, she's ready to party. RDT's like, dude, this happened. You know what else? I don't feel bad. I did that to Jeff. I thought Jay Lee was a chick for the longest time. I'm like, oh, Jay Lee, honey, how you doing? His name's Jeff. He's like a total dude. He's not femmy looking at all. So that I've made this mistake before, and I thought you were a friend of ours, and I'm happy that you're not. I'm happy that you're even another person that I know now. So my apologies, RDT, and thank you. Keep coming back. It works. Call him Stoner, but he's not a stoner. He's a tweaker. John Evans, yeah, great road vlog minus the dead spaces, but y'all sounded great. Yeah, I know. Shit. It was like a gamble. Like I said, I was like, how much is going to get muted here? You know, I've seen where it's only muted a few seconds of a chorus, you know what I mean? But like Sebastian's pretty much, as soon as he started singing, the whole song I kept on there got muted, and it was like, oh. But you know, just from like a click standpoint, the video's doing all right. I mean, I've had videos that we had way better sounding performances in, and it only got like, 1,800 views. I mean, this one's probably going to hit 4,000. So, and because of the dead spaces, I think they're clicking past it more. So it's making the click-through rate appear to be higher. D-Test 77. Hi, Eric. Hello. Let's see. Sebastian Bach came on the bus after his show. So what happened? Did you smoke out, dude? Some Canadian there was talking to him Canadian stuff. He had some memorabilia he wanted to give to him or have him sign or something like that. But yeah, Sebastian, he's Canadian, and they were on their way to Canada actually. After that, I believe they headed right into Canada and played some sold out shows that they had a great time at. He had sent me an invitation to like join his the party. The party never stops or dies. The party never ends. That's what it's from the 18 in Life lyrics, right? The party never ends. If you haven't had the pleasure, sign on Facebook to this, or maybe it's Instagram. It might be Instagram. It's a group called The Party Never Ends, and Sebastian Bach basically sends voice memos to you. He like tells you about it. So like I you know how I know about this Canada thing? I got a voice memo from him. It's like,
Dude, we're in Canada tonight, and I got goosebumps. The show's sold out.
you know, and he's like doing his whole Sebastian thing, and he tells you all about it. It's just like his own little road diary, and he just kind of voice memos, puts it out in the group. And so yeah, we didn't smoke out. I can't remember if I must have smoked with him at some point, but I've seen him backstage before. But he seems like he's more into the wine or whatever. I mean, the last times I've seen him, he's Mr. Wine connoisseur. John Evans, Sebastian, look exhausted after the show. Must take a lot out of you performing. Well, again, guys, you know, I mean, who are we kidding? These dudes are freaking old, man. I mean, with all due respect, and I'm not far away. I mean, I'm young spirited, and of course, I got some hair issues, you know, going on. But you know, fuck, if I had a full head of hair, I probably wouldn't look as nearly as old as I am, being 53. But I see dudes that are my age that look hella old, and it just, you know, even though I might not look it on the outside, on the inside, I realized I am old. Shit, I had a heart attack 3 years ago. It's like we're getting up there, but yeah, you know, I don't know Sebastian's routine. I don't know if he like hits the gym or, you know, whatever. He's a big dude. But he's in his 60s now. I mean, remember, there was a time when 55 was the retirement age. Now it's those guys' age. It's you're offered it at 62. You know, if you want to wait a couple years, they'll give you a little more money. But hell, Steven's going to be goddamn 70. I mean, most of us don't think, oh yeah, we're going to stay working at our job till we're 70. Ooh, right? You know, most people hoped the American dream would enable them, you know, afford them some type of retirement at some point where they could enjoy their last years, not having to, you know, be at a job, right? But no, Steven still has to put on the leathers and go round and round and lay it down. But I mean, if he really hated it, he wouldn't do it. You know, he loves playing on stage for you guys. It's obvious that he enjoys the adulation he gets out there, and he enjoys playing the songs that you guys love, you know, because he, as I said, he wouldn't do it otherwise. Tom Kiefer, LA Guns are playing today in Anaheim at the Grove. That's cool. Both great live bands. Both those bands are never disappoint, and are both just great rock bands. Tom Kiefer has a truly amazing big band, and really has been delivering. Yeah, Pool Time saw Kiefer in Dallas. He was awesome. Yeah, he's really takes pride in his live shows. I'll send you pictures, but finish wood burning my Viking Knight themed guitar body. Yeah, Jay Krager, you got to send us pictures of that. RDT, even though I messed up and now I know he's a bro, is saying smash the like button, y'all. Smash it like a dude would, right? RDT. I'll never make that mistake again. Spicoli, everyone must get high.
Hey, bud, let's party.
Yes, condolences, Skojo, prayers. So sorry, Scott. Yes, it's a rough week. I mean, I'm sure he appreciates all you guys. Spicoli's saying he saw a cloud appear and disappear. Maybe I made that cloud. Maybe there's UFOs hiding in your pot cloud. Hey, all I take are peptides and the ganja, my dude, and lost 25 pounds. Woohoo! Nice. I'm not taking peptides. I don't even know what that is. Am I dumb? Maybe I need some peptides. I need some pep in my step. Via extraterrestrial. I've been abducted by aliens in my dreams, and it was real. Same thing happened to Sammy Hagar. We had the very similar experience. Well, what do you remember them doing in your dream? That's interesting. I mean, I've told one UFO story that was, believe it was around 1991 in Carlsbad. And I saw this, it was in the summer, and I was standing with a girlfriend of mine out. I had went back to my mom's for a bit, even though I left home when I was 17. I was back there for a minute. It was after a car accident I had, and so I was like kind of rehabbing over there. And I believe I was around 18 years old. And as we were talking outside, I see this thing that looked kind of shaped, appeared to be shaped like a blimp, and it wasn't even nighttime yet. It was like getting to be. It was like, late. It must have been around like 6 or 7 in the summer. And this thing was going overhead. It looked like it was the size of a blimp or something. But what struck me was that it had these like those UFO looking circles of whatever propels it, whatever that type of energy or whatever it's using to go. It has those like, orangey circles underneath. And I was like, what the F? I remember like, shut up. What? Like looking up at this thing that was not it wasn't very high, and it wasn't going very fast. And I did notice that there was some helicopters, and there was some other action like kind of following it. And it looked like it was heading over to the local park over towards the canyons of La Costa in Carlsbad. It looked like it was kind of going off in that direction. And I was so like stunned at what I saw that I'm like, we got to go. This thing looked like it went down over there, So I was like, we got to head over there. And so we were like getting high and giggling. We like went over to the park, and we were sitting there, and we didn't end up seeing anything. But what was interesting was as we were sitting there and it got dark, all of a sudden, all these dogs from the neighborhood all got loose, and the first dog came up was friendly, and then another dog, but by like the 5th or 6th dog, we were kind of like a little unnerved by it. It started turning like a Stephen King movie or something, and like we're just like, shh. We actually ran away to get away from these dogs, and they were following us. Looking back, I felt bad because we did run across a major like highway, and some of them, chased us across. And actually, like we got back to my mom's, and some of these dogs forced their way into the house as we got in. Like obviously something was up with this, you know what I mean? With what it did to these animals, and like just what I saw, it was interesting. I don't really subscribe to the UFOs from another galaxy traveling light years to get to us. I don't believe any of that. I don't know what exactly this realm is that we live in, but I don't believe anything that science says about it. I think that like even if they know, they wouldn't want us to know kind of thing. They want to, like, knowledge is power. They don't want all you guys to have that power or figure out how to take things to another level here. And you kind of notice that in your life, these people that, like, there's always somebody who finally comes up with how to run a car on water. Did you ever notice that? Like, this guy just ran a car with water, and all of a sudden he's dead like a week later. And I've seen this happen. Like somebody comes up with it like every couple of years, and he's dead like a few weeks later. I mean, I don't believe any of it. But is there weird stuff up there? I mean, is it like maybe an ancient civilization that had advanced technologies? I believe that way before. And I also think that maybe the universe has its little flushing system. Maybe who's ever created this place or kind of runs it, whoever the overlords are, when they see the civilizations start to get a little too advanced, then maybe they have a catastrophic event to kind of wipe it out and let it start over again. Like, okay, they figured it out, start it over, and then maybe they didn't wipe it all out. Maybe some of that tech remained and is in the ice, it's in caverns, it's just happened, it's under the oceans, a lot of it, right? A lot of the undersea stuff. But they definitely always try to predict some alien invasion, and I always got the vibe that they're kind of protecting this place personally. Like whenever it seems like we start overstepping with missiles and stuff, like apparently they potentially get involved. But maybe it's a discovered old tech that our governments have discovered, and they're revving it up and trying it out. Like at the time, my intuition was telling me that that's what that was. Like this was some military operation I was seeing, which isn't unheard of if you live anywhere near a base, right? I live like today. I live right next to Camp Pendleton base. But North County, where there's bases. San Diego's got a lot of military bases here, so I just assumed it was that. I see training going on all the time with aircraft carriers and helicopters and jets and all kinds of cool stuff here. So yeah, I'm not out to believe we're being invaded by aliens necessarily, but I know they keep everybody distracted with that sort of thing. I don't know what they are. T-Cuz is late, but he's here, everybody. I'm late again. We'll watch the replay. It's insane that Fauci is free and a criminal he is, but the whole society is insane, really. Yeah, I mean, I won't go too deep into that, T-Cuz right now, but I think we owe it to the children and our kids to put this guy away, regardless of whatever protections. Like we really need to demand it, and if we did, if enough people were like, no, we're actually taking to the streets, we're taking over, we're gonna disrupt. We're going to disrupt till something's done about it. And they would finally at least let him kind of go down for it, even though the fraud was so far reaching. You know what I mean? He was at the pinnacle. He was at the top of the American Medical Association handing all this stuff down. But wow, all the doctors ran with it. Everybody got in on that fraud. Marking people off as COVID for their deaths and all that stuff. The fraud is so far reaching that I think that's why we're not really seeing him get taken down, because now so many people are involved with that, that it's just like they're kind of worried about it. They just want to pretend it didn't happen. But that guy has to go to his wife needs to go to prison. That's the one that never gets talked about. She's the one who has a different last name than him, and she works for the FDA. She's on the board that decides if vaccines are safe enough for kids under 12. And if they decide that, then then the company gets protections. Okay. Cause they're like, if it's safe enough for a kid under 12, it's safe. And you can give this big pharma company protections against any serious lawsuits. So you can just let them print money. Okay. That's saying it's good for people under 12 is just allowing them to print their own money. They're going to make a lot of money, despite people that got hurt and killed. And that makes her one of the most evil people on the planet, that she used children, that she betrayed the children of our country to pass her husband's vaccine, that he had a hand in the patent for Moderna. He actually, his company had some of the patents used in that. He's standing to make a lot of money from that, plus just everything else involved with taking Big Brother to another level of having these awful like vaccine passports. Like if you don't go and have these things, you can't leave your little 15-minute city. You can't travel to other places. You can't go on that cruise. You can't do this and that. And it was pure evil and just using everybody's fears, turning everybody against each other. These people need to pay for their crimes. She needs to go to prison. He needs to go to prison. These doctors that committed fraud on their paperwork and stuff need to have their licenses taken away. Dr. Frosty Brew, do you smoke weed? Yeah, I do. You got some? You got something for the weed fund? No. T-Cuz, wow, she went on the wagon, as it were. Did she used to partake in the ganja? Are you talking about Susan here? She's not one to do that. She's trying not to drink. Drinking was always her thing. David Carrasco just checking in. I see some familiar names here. Hello, all. John Evans loves the sticky icky. Yeah, it helps you kind of laugh at life a little bit, but it's not like you're gonna commit crimes on the pot. You know what I mean? I kind of laugh when she's like, "You need to go to rehab." Yeah, no. Spicoli wants me to do the show from the balcony, dude, or the beach so you could smoke with us. I know you guys love seeing that. I think that might affect also my advertising. Like, I'm supposed to tell them if there's any recreational drug use going on, and I'm trying to be a sellout. T-Cuz used to smoke the ganja. He smoked dirt weed that was around, had a dugout and all that. I can't these days. It's too powerful. Wouldn't have been awesome if the stuff was strong back then. Yeah, I mean, even crappy weed got you super high when you were like young. But man, yeah, the dirt weed's a bummer now. I mean, this place I go to buy, it's so affordable for what would be considered, I guess, kind of mid-grade stuff back in the day. But it's like, shit, I probably get like a half ounce for, or God, how much do I get? I mean, it depends. There's different ways they sell it. It could be little like eighths or quarters, or sometimes like one bag over there was like, it was 14 grams, which is a half ounce. And I think this 14 gram thing was only like $30 or something. And then they have the taxes they put on. So it ends up being closer to $60 when you're walking out the door, because that's how crazy the taxes are here in California on it. But at the end of the day, man, I bought it legally in a store, paid my taxes on it, right, to help California. And nobody was killed, no hostages were taken, there was no, whatever. If I spent more money, I could get higher quality that would be like twice as much for a fraction of the quantity, but then it would be too much. It would be too much to where I probably have to go take a nap or something. And I don't know. I still got to get stuff done. I just like to, I call it a little tighten up. I just like to, I don't know how many times I go out there to smoke. I was trying to figure it out because she really makes it seem like I have a drug problem. I love to wake and bake. That's the first thing I like to do. Get the coffee going, feed the cats, and then it's like out on the balcony, do my wake and bake, think about some shit, go then start to get to work on the creative angle. And then just like you should get up from your chair every hour or two or whatever, I'll get up, maybe walk out, take a snap, go. I probably have like, I don't know, like 5 sessions out there throughout the day, and maybe one before bedtime. She's mad, yo. Like, she's mad. Women can be mad. Yeah, man, once you open the bag, dude, you busted, son. T-Cuz, thanks for sharing the trials and tribulations. Try to tell her not to waste her emotional energy on what she can't change as far as politics. I'm like you. I'm way through with voting. Yeah, I haven't voted, dude, since like, God, a long ass time. I mean, the 90s probably. No, you know what? The last guy was like around 9/11. Before I got in tune with what really was going on with 9/11. I voted for George Bush, even though I was a Democrat at the time. And I voted for George Bush because the other guy was Al Gore, and he was all about climate change that I didn't, it was actually called global warming back then. They had to change it because it was getting colder. So anyways, global warming was his whole platform. And I don't subscribe to that. And with 9/11, they had me thinking that terrorists were coming here, and yeah, dude, we better go get them before they get us. And I subscribed to that. I'm like, we need a cowboy in there. And I really had no idea the history of the Bush family or anything like that. Like, that's where ignorance can really, it's almost better if stupid people don't fucking vote, honestly. Like, if you're an uneducated person, you probably shouldn't vote at all, really. I know that sounds terrible to say, or maybe comes off anti-American, but if you're voting for the wrong reasons, like I was leading up until that point, I voted for Bill Clinton because he played the goddamn saxophone. That's not a good reason. That guy was a huge cocaine dealer. The Bush family, they're terrible people. Going back historically, as you get older and gain wisdom and you learn about these people, you go, Prescott Bush, this guy sold oil to like the Nazis and the Americans. He was helping those Nazi tanks run and kill our people here. He's supposed to be on our team. You know what I mean? So the reality of all this stuff is hard to swallow, and I don't get into it. Like, I'm just like, leave me the F alone. And once you start treading on me, that's when you're going to see me get out there in the trenches and really go out against something. And the only time I've done that is with that vaccine. That's the only time that I went nuts and got mouthy about it. And there's a lot of people that thought I was irresponsible. And, now I think they understand. And, we all need to forgive each other, move forward, but definitely hold some of these people accountable. Chicas drinks straight out the tap. He drinks a lot of water. He lifts and runs like crazy. And he was late because of Planet Fitness. 15 minutes on the stair stepper. That's the way to go, Chicas. I do a similar machine, and that's the best thing I could commit to. Just like what you're doing. I don't even bother with weights and all that. I don't want to be, I like this. I need to look skinny. The band I play in are all skinny dudes. I don't want to look like Lou Ferrigno up there. You know what I mean? I go on the fat burner for 1 hour plus the 5-minute cool down. And I lost the 30 pounds, and I'm buying new clothes now. And that's good, man. And yeah, depending on where you live, the water can be really good out of the tap. It really just depends where you are. You should help prevent that chick getting the shot. You're damned hero. Yeah, Susan. I prevented her from getting the shot. It really came to blows almost over it. You know what I mean? She didn't think it was that serious, but it put a strain on our relationship. I mean, if I could be honest about it, she really, because the strain happened because of the news, besides the political strain that puts on couples and stuff with their political choices or whatever. The fact that they were calling people like me a conspiracy theorist and these kind of things, that she was lumping me into that. She was being programmed to dislike and discount people like me as idiots. So that was putting a strain on us. And I'm glad it's all over with, but there was a price to be paid for all of us. Those of us who for our kids to go to school or to go to their job, they had to take the fucking thing. They didn't want to, but they did, and I think a lot of people but probably got saline solution. I'm hoping at least half of you guys, you know what I mean? I say that because I know a lot of people behind the scenes were swapping shit out. There's nurses that got arrested, for such things, some that just got out in different countries even, and just the fact that scientifically they didn't want to whack everybody in one shot, you know what I mean? These crazy people definitely want to lower the population, the Bill Gates people of the world, and so you don't want to take your medical advice from them. But they knew that if everybody was dropping dead, they wouldn't get enough shots out there. So I'm sure like half of them were nothing, you know what I mean? And then they all had serial numbers and they sent them to certain places, and it's very evil, man. The whole thing was messed up. But T-Cuz is saying it's a really big deal. It's your livelihood. Some clown comes along and makes it intolerable. Oh yeah, with the old the people that have been fired from our group, definitely that was but it's the thing that makes being a musician like I am sketchy is that it's I'm an independent contractor, you know what I mean? So if I don't like it, walk away. That I did get faced with Stephen had a manager at the time, and he was telling me if I didn't get that shot that I was going to be out of the band or wasn't going to be able to play shows. And I was so proud to have, given him one of these and said, fire me then. I'm not taking it. Now, if I was working at a real job, I'd have $1 million right now. Any of these people that got fired for that, they actually got sued and got a ton of money, dude. But it's an independent contractor job. I would have just lost my job. I'm just lucky that Steven is, on the same page I am, and he didn't do that thing either. So it's like I evaded that. And then in 2021, bands started playing out again, and we were able to get back out there. We're one of the first bands that was out playing again. I'm late, but happy Wednesday, everybody. Yeah, Jade Lee. What's up, my brother? We got weird DZ76 gives some devil horns and hearts. They're thoughtful devil horns. You sound like you have a head cold or congestion. I always kind of do. And sometimes when I get emotional, it gets congested. But okay, I sound congested. I look old. Any other bad feedback for me tonight? I don't have a cold. I feel good. I don't. Maybe it's because I smoke weed. Maybe that's part of it. Lou Diamond Phillips. Yeah. Oh, Speed Wolf. Speed Wolf. It has a speed metal band from Denver. It's also a speed metal band for the Denver area. T-Cuz knows all the underground metal and punk and stuff. Speed Wolf, I like that the most so far. Thomas is saying DLR needs to hang it up. You've seen a few recent clips. It's just bad, dude. What I would like for Dave to hang up is his wardrobe. I mean, his wardrobe has bothered me since the Eat 'em and Smile era, if I could be honest. You know what I mean? It's like, I just don't like it. I don't like anything he's worn. The last thing that I liked that he wore was like, I was okay with like what he wore in Panama or like leading up to like 1984. I was okay with some of that. But then it started getting into the assless chaps and the just leotards, like the just weird, goofy, totally not cool things that he was doing. Where Eddie Van Halen was kind of more just like a tight ripped jeans and like a t-shirt, you know, or maybe he would go tight ripped jeans and wear like a cool little jacket with a wife beater, you know, or something like that, you know. Maybe around 5150, Van Halen got a little too dad rock. Maybe they should have kept some kind of look going. They were trying to be colorful, but they had like the MC Hammer pants or whatever. But at least they kind of, you know, it was all somewhat acceptable. But Dave, like, I don't know if he actually has like a wardrobe person that's pushing him to do this, or he's like, that I want to wear that, but it's just like, God damn it. And then when they get to a certain age, then it's really just looks ridiculous. Now, what look should David Lee Roth go for? Let's try to think one up for him. What do you guys think? I'm like, I don't know, man. I could see maybe well, I mean, even Barry Manilow wears suits and stuff, you know what I mean? Or I mean, should David Lee Roth be coming out wearing a suit? Would be more appropriate at this age. I think so, you know, just not the tight spandex. No, not when you're goddamn pushing 80 years old. You know, I think that's part of the problem here. If he was just kind of cool and wore, I don't know, even a trench coat or something and came out, it would be better. Put on a fedora and wear like some kind of, go out dressing like Pitbull or something. I don't know. What do you guys think? Thomas Bailey's can't think because like humidity will pull it out of you, plus singing for an hour. Oh, you're talking about Sebastian. Yeah. Telly or a Strat? I like both of those guitars. I mean, they're all tools for me. In the studio, I'll utilize a Telly, I'll utilize a Strat, I'll utilize a Gibson Les Paul, I'll utilize a Charvel. Those are all just tools in the tool chest. But when we head up to Matt's place, he's got some great guitars. I got some revved up guitars. You know, the real question is live, you know, like live, what's the guitar? I mean, playing the 80s rock stuff, technically you would want a Super Strat, you'd want a Jackson or a Charvel, something like that with a Floyd Rose on it to do that stuff. But just for what the pain in the ass they are, and the fact that we fly and they're charging so much these days, I've weaned it down to just taking my old Les Paul, and that's it. I just take a Les Paul on the airplane and go, that's it, and show up, and I just tune the one string down when we do the other ones. And it's been pretty smooth. It's the least amount of work getting the guitars ready I've ever done. It's not that I wouldn't like to have a whammy bar up there and whatever, but just as far as just making it easy, making the whole, and not taking up a bunch of room in the car with gear, I've just been taking that Les Paul. Thomas Bailey, that's bizarre. Are we talking about the UFOs? Yeah. David Carrasco just saw that Sean Glass from the band Soil has passed away. This is horrible. Yeah, I didn't know him by name, and that is horrible because I do like the band Soil. Um, that Halo song they had was super cool. Was he played on that, right? I did see the band play in the early, probably 2003. I saw Soil play, and they were one of the better, heavier bands out at the time. And dude had a great guitar tone. I remember that. It was pretty crushing. I don't know him as a person, but that's I'm assuming the guy's probably around my age, and that sucks, man. I'm sorry for the fans' loss and his loss to his friends and family. Seen someone run a car on old French fry grease, and it made me hungry. Yeah, I used to have a toy. Did you guys have my uncle worked for Ideal Toys, so in the 70s I got all the cool shit. But they had this toy called Gas Guzzlers, and they were these like kind of little hot rod looking cars, and you had like an eyedropper, and you put um you put oil, or not oil, excuse me, water. You just put some water in there, and it would like propel the car. And I go, God, can't they do this like in real life? And they can, but then they'll kill you right after. Thomas Bailey, FDA is corrupt. I worked at Burroughs. Welcome, where they made herpes and AZT early HIV medicine. Yeah, AZT killed a shitload of people. And people don't remember that, and definitely the kids today don't know that, but we lived through, everybody that's around my age, of course, lived through the whole AIDS scare and stuff in the late 80s or whatever, mid 80s started to happen. And then by the early 90s, man, AZT was out. And that was Fauci's thing. That was his thing. Fauci was the one that got the emergency authorization back then to stick that AZT, and killed like 1 million people, mostly a lot of gay people and drug users and stuff. And it was that, I can't believe people didn't remember that when his name came up again. Rehab is for quitters. Well, you know what? I was thinking the guy sadly passed away that used to host America's Funniest Home Videos. I'm just trying to think of his name, but he was in Half Baked. Remember the movie Half Baked with Dave Chappelle, which is such an awesome movie. And in that movie, Dave Chappelle had a girlfriend pulling the same shit. But it's like, hey, if you want to get with me and get this, you're gonna have to quit that. You have to go to some meetings, some like Narcotics Anonymous meetings. And so Dave Chappelle's like going to the meeting, and everybody's up there talking, and then they're like, what are you in here for? And he's like, weed. That guy, what's that actor's name? He got all mad. He's like, weed? I suck dick for coke, and you're in here for weed? Yeah, that's so funny. When she was saying that to me in the rehab, so I wanted to go do that bit. Oh man, alcohol bad, weed good. Yeah, cirrhosis of the liver ain't good. No, you look fine. You're losing weight for sure. Okay, thank you. Yeah, you guys are holding me to a high level of health. See, that's when I commit to doing a weekly show like this. You're gonna see me. Maybe I had a sad freaking day. Maybe I was crying all day. No, that definitely didn't happen. Because sometimes I try to cry. There's just no tears left. It's like the Ozzy song, "No more tears." That's what he means. He means that. I don't know if that's what he means, but that just made me think of it. Is that what he meant, Ozzy? I think that's what he means. It's like, no, it's just dried up. It's like an old vagina. It's just, there's nothing wet coming out of this. Johnny Ponder, Phil Lewis looking duper here lately. Dapper? Are we starting to say dapper? Yeah, I'm cool with Phil Lewis's look. I think it's cool. It's different, but dude, at some point you gotta kind of make some kind of like switch over to something that looks more age appropriate. You know what I mean? When you're trying to, some guys can pull it off. There's some kind of biker looking dudes that can pull it off. Pearcy's one of them. Another guy is Alice Cooper, right? Alice Cooper's another one of those kind of biker looking dudes that they're kind of like, they're not pretty, but they got the black hair. I don't know, something about it. They can pull that off till the day they die. And then there's some people that just start to look older and older, and they're trying to wear their old clothes and their old stuff, and it's just sad to see, like Roth's doing, right? And they should change it up. We got Bradley Rush. Hey, Eric, what's happening? Bradley, thanks for being here tonight. Have you ever played Nashville with Steven? I can't remember him being here in a really long time. Not Nashville itself. I mean, we've played outside of it. I've done Monsters on the Mountain. They're Pearcy DiMartini. That's going to be one of the last shows of them. And man, there's some gossip about that I almost want to talk to you guys about, but it's not really my story. But anyways, yeah, you're gonna see the solo band from here out, but those guys do have 2 more shows left. So if anybody can make it to Monsters on the Mountain, you're a big Warren DiMartini fan, Carlos Cavazzo, and Matt. I will talk to Matt, guys. I will tell him that people have been asking for him, and see if we can get him on next week. Yeah. So one last comment. He was telling a chick, no more tears. It's getting old. He wants to move on and make the most of his night. Yeah, that's pretty close to the same thing I'm at. But yeah, I'm all cried out. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I can almost get it there. Maybe get a little, you'll hear my nose get a little plugged up, or I'll have to blow my nose, but that's about as far as crying as I get, man. I don't know. The heart's died. John Evans, have a safe and great 4th, everyone. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, everybody, if I guess I won't be seeing you before the 4th of July. Have a great 4th. Wish Stephen Pearcy a happy birthday this week for me and you. I know all you guys are old school rock fans. Yes, awesome hang, everybody. Be cool and be kind to each other. I'll see you next